The largest speedway we run on. It's the fastest speedway we run on. It's the easiest speedway we run on. It was designed and built for 200-mile-an-hour racing, and therefore when we're going 200 miles an hour here, it's relatively comfortable. If you lose a little respect for that speed, you're going to get in a lot of trouble here. I guess you'd have to say it's a sleeping giant, and we're all giant killers, or we think we are anyway.
That man is Darrell Waltrip, the only driver who has ever won the Talladega 500 twice. And the Talladega 500 is the issue of our CBS flag-to-flag coverage today. The 2.6-mile fastest racetrack in the world is about to see 40 drivers competing for some $373,000. Good afternoon, I'm Ken Squire. Welcome aboard. Our on-car cameras are all set to go. We're ready to bring you the total story, we hope, of all of the action here today in the Talladega 500. Working with me as my co-host and analyst is the two-time Grand National champion, 50 times a winner, Ned Jarrett. And Ned, the drivers hold this track in very special respect.
Yes, they do, Ken. Certainly it is the ultimate as far as a high-speed racetrack is concerned. As Darrell Waltrip said, they can run relatively comfortable at 200 miles an hour. But sometimes that will tend to sort of lull them to sleep, because when you get out there with 40 other automobiles, the circumstances are different. You can get in trouble in a hurry, so they have to always be conscious of that. The cars that qualified, say, 194, 195 miles an hour will be running today in draft speeds of up to 204 or 205. That's 10 miles an hour faster than they ran in qualifying. That makes a tremendous difference in the handling ability of that automobile, so it'll jump up and get them if they aren't careful.
This is the race of the dark horses, where they prance. Four of the drivers who have come through here, those four drivers have never won any other races, and it is still the track where men like Cale Yarborough and Benny Parsons and David Pearson are still trying to win their very first race. The man on the pole at 201.7 miles per hour is Cale Yarborough, and standing by with him is Larry Newberg.
Cale Yarborough, 3 times a national champion. You're also number 3 on the list of winners of all time in NASCAR, but this particular race has eluded you. How does Cale Yarborough view that? Is it important to you?
Well, it is important. You know, I've been lucky enough to win most every race that we've ever run, and even though I've won here, I haven't won this particular race, but I hope today we're going to put a stop to that.
You know, something else, Cal. Last week when the rest of the division was up in Pennsylvania racing, you guys were here practicing. You're taking this one pretty serious, aren't you?
Well, I'm serious about it. It's time I win this race, and so we came down and did some practice, and I hope it pays off for us.
And the race cam. That 22-pound gadget has not at all hindered you, has it?
Well, it hasn't hindered me a bit. I've won 3 out of 4 times with it, so I welcome it back.
Ken, he starts from the best place in the world, number 1.
Our CBS camera on board Cale Yarborough's car. The fates at Talladega work in strange and mysterious ways. The man on the outside of the front row has our second onboard camera, and he is one of the dark horses. He's never won a race. And Mike Joy is standing by with him at this moment.
Ken, many of these race cars were built in large factories with crews and teams of 30 to 40 men and tested at factory wind tunnels. Not this one. This car was built in a little garage in Dawsonville, Georgia, by Bill Elliott and his brothers and his dad and a couple of friends to help out. As he straps into this car and gets ready to go here at Talladega, who helped put this car on the pole?
Well, I feel like all the guys back at the shop worked very hard, and, you know, it's just a small family-run operation, but, you know, we worked hard and accomplished quite a lot.
Are you surprised to have outqualified not only all the other Fords, but all but one other car here?
Well, I really am, because we didn't expect to run as good as what we really did, and you know, we worked hard and just did the best we could, and here we are.
3 Fords on the outside row in the front 3 positions. Can you 3 link up in a draft against the Chevrolets, or will you have to try to tuck in on the start?
Well, I still feel like Cale's the car to beat, and when the flag falls, we'll just have to see what we can do and what we can't do.
Back upstairs to Ken Squire.
The ceremonies are underway to commence the Talladega 500. Stand by for our live flag-to-flag coverage here on CBS.
This CBS Sports Special is sponsored by Pontiac, who invite you to test drive a new Pontiac at your Pontiac dealer. At Pontiac, we build excitement. Michelob Light, an exceptional light beer with a rich, smooth taste. And by Union Oil, the winning spirit rides with you every time. It's the spirit of 76.
They call him the King because Richard Petty knows what it takes to win.
Going into the last lap, there's no better place to be than in second. Then, if you slingshot at just the right moment, you could be the winner.
Winning, it's a part of men like Richard Petty.
And that winning spirit has helped Union 76 fuel more winners than anyone else. That winning quality rides with you every time you ride out of a Union 76 station.
Go with the spirit.
The winning spirit.
Spirit of 76.
Now let's meet the starting grid for the 15th annual Talladega 500. On the pole, the Talladega 500 still seeking his first win, qualifying at 201.7 miles per hour in his Chevrolet Cale Yarborough, and beside him the dark horse in the Ford, Bill Elliott. Row 2, Denny Parsons of Bellevue, North Carolina. In a Chevrolet, Dale Earnhardt in his Ford outside. Row 3, 73 champion Richard Brooks and the 75 winner Buddy Baker. Row 4, from Texas, Terry Labonte. From Indiana comes Mark Martin. Row 5, Jeff Bodine and the two-time winner of this event, Darrell Waltrip. In row 6, Mississippi's Lake Speed and the 1974 winner, Richard Petty. Row 7, Kyle Petty and the 1980 winner, Neil Bonnet. Row 8, David Pearson of Spartanburg, South Carolina, and Grant Adcox is back. Row 9, Ricky Rudd at Chesapeake, Virginia, and last week's winner at Pocono, Tim Richmond. In row 10, the 1981 winner, Ron Bouchard and Jody Ridley. And here is the rest of the starting field for this Talladega 500. Joe Rutland and Sterling Marlin in row 11. Then comes the bandit Harry Gant in row 12 alongside Bobby Allison, who's won here before. In row 13 is Buddy Arrington in a Chrysler and Trevor Boyce in the James Hilton car. Row 14, Illinois' Bobby Womack and Cecil Gordon. In row 15, it's Ken Reagan and Billy Harvey. Row 16, Bobby Hillen out of Oklahoma and Morgan Shepherd. In row 17 will come Al Elmore, making his first superspeedway appearance in Tommy Gale. Then it's Mike Potter and Dave Marcus, who won here in 1976. It's Ronnie Thomas and J.D. McDuffie for row 19, and Dr. Dick Skillen and Travis Tiller round out our starting field back in the 39th and 40th positions. So now we're getting down to it. Those last moments are being counted off, Ned, before we begin this great race.
Well, of course, there's a lot of anticipation by a lot of people here today, Ken. There are a lot of drivers in the field who feel that they're very capable, and this is one race that they can come to that they feel maybe their chances are a little better than at other races.
Bobby Allison is back there in the 24th position. A bit of a surprise, and standing by with him is Larry Newberg.
Bobby, it seems like every Grand National race, one of the front runners ends up starting at least in midfield, and you drew the short straw today. How does Bobby Allison view this starting position back in the 12th row?
Well, I'd really rather be a little closer to the front, but here at Talladega especially, it's, I don't think, a real major factor. Just our qualifying effort wasn't good enough this trip, and so we're back here. The competition won't let you slip up any at all.
Obviously, the key, Bobby, is to keep the leaders within sight, or at least earshot. Now, how are you going to know exactly where the leaders are in the early stages of the race?
Well, Gary keeps up with all that. He lets me know from the pits what the deal is. And really, in a 500-mile race, we can let things settle down a little bit before we have to really be concerned with that. We do know that Cale's capable of going very fast, and so that might be a factor. But all in all, we just try to run a good, hard race all day long, and kind of let things settle down.
So far, 1983 has been his year. He comes in as the points leader, Ken Squire.
Third of the all-time win list, the 1971 winner of the Talladega 500. Live pictures from Bobby Allison's car down there on pit road. There are a lot of great champions here, and there are some drivers who are making their first try. One of them is 24 years old. He lives about 17 miles from where Cale Yarborough hails. And he hopes to someday have his name recognized like a Yarborough. But for today, he's an unknown. His name is Al Elmore, and Mike Joy is there.
Ken, probably every man watching at home would like to be in this Talladega 500 kind of vicariously, and one of the everymen that is Al Elmore. Why would a fellow who's running in only his 4th asphalt race ever want to run here on the fastest speedway on earth?
Well, we had the chance. We got a good sponsor and all, and DK Oric and the crew have really done a good job on the car this week, and we're just here. We made the field, and that's something to, be proud of, and we hope to have a good finish here.
You've raced twice at Nashville, once at Pocono, 150-mile-an-hour track. What's the biggest difference about going 200 miles an hour?
Well, to me, the biggest difference is the straightaway speed isn't that much, but when you hit these turns at 200 miles an hour, it's really something. It's really a different ball game.
Good luck today.
Thank you, Mike.
The field firing. 40 cars strong, ready to go for it. We've had so many great races here at Talladega, Ned, and I anticipate this is going to be another barn burner.
I don't think there's any question about it, Ken. Everybody is very high. When I say everybody, I think at least half of this field, the drivers feel that they have a shot at winning this thing. And, of course, that's what creates and makes competition.
You're inside Cale Yarborough's car number 28. If you were with us at Daytona, you rode with him to victory. If you were with us at Michigan, you rode with him to victory again. The question is, will the string continue for Cale Yarborough? There's Bobby Hillen, young driver just cutting his teeth in Grand National Racing, hoping for a great race today.
This fellow just graduated from high school back in May, Ken, so there's a lot of young fellows around the country who would like to be in his position.
Some of the 100,000 that are gathered here on this 2.6-mile track, waiting as the suspense builds, and this is always a suspenseful race.
It certainly is, as they get ready to roll them off the line, knowing that in just moments that they'll be accelerating up to 200 miles an hour. There have been 10 winners already on the Grand National Circuit this year. There are at least another 8 or 10 in this field today who are capable but haven't won so far.
And 10 winners is a modern-day record in Grand National Racing. You have to go back to the days when you were out there chomping at the bit, Ned, to find that there were 14 or 15.
And, of course, we were running many more races on the season than they run now. We were running up to 50 to 60 races, and it was easier, I guess, because of the fact you were running more races.
Car in trouble on pit road. One lane has come to a stop momentarily. The hood is up on one automobile, and now some other cars moving around. Number 20 is the automobile in trouble down on pit road. Number 29, and that would be Grant Adcock's car having a problem.
Grant had a very good qualifying speed.
As you look at the near-perfect weather conditions for racing at Talladega, the Grant Adcock's car in trouble on pit road has fired and has joined the field. The cars are now through the tri-oval area down to the start line, where in one lap they will be racing. You are inside Cale Yarborough's car number 28. Cale, how do you feel about this one? This is Ken Squire in the CBS control room.
Again.
How do you feel about today's race?
Well, I feel real good, Ken. The car's been running real well for us all week, but the competition is very keen here. It's going to be 20, 25 cars that's going to run.
Have you changed engines since qualifying?
Yes, I have. This is a fresh engine, but we just hope it's as good as the one we qualified with.
Thank you, Cale. Let's go to Bill Elliott, who is in car number 9 on the outside of the front row. Bill Elliott, Ken Squire at CBS. Do you read us?
Roger, loud, clear.
Okay, who's going to lead the first lap? Are you set to pull that one off?
Well, I hope so. We'll have to see how we do when the race starts. Bill, this is Ned Garrett. How about the acceleration of the Chevrolet of Cale Yarborough as compared to your Ford? Well, I feel like he could probably beat me on the start, but we'll just kind of take it as it goes. I feel like he's going to be the car to outrun all day anyway.
Is the car all right? Any problems at all since you qualified?
Not any problems whatsoever.
Well, good luck to you and the family from up in Talladega, Georgia. Hope you have a good day.
Thank you very much.
Field coming around through turn 3. Notice the gum on the dash. This is a 6-gum race, 500 miles. They take a stick every 100 miles, as I understand. All right, Cale Yarborough is leading the field down out of turn number 4. The pace car about to come in. Going to get the jump on him, Cale, as you come to the line. Here they are. Pace car in.
And he is in total concentration right now, not wanting to over-rev that engine on the start of this race, but also wanting to rev it high enough that he might be able to pull away and get get a Carlin lead as it goes into turn one. It's going to be interesting.
At Daytona, he said he wanted to bring us right down to the flag, but today he is all focused on one thing, the green flag, and trying to get a break. And here come a lot of cars that will pick up on that draft if he indeed does hit 2 miles an hour over the rest of the field, which I would doubt with an engine change. As they go into turn number 1, up on that 35-degree banking for the first time on this 2.6-mile track. Cale jumps out in front, and you're looking at the back as Harry Gant and Barney Parsons begin to make their moves. Parsons is pulling up into second place. Gant getting trapped to the wall and then getting back in again.
Sort of as expected, Elliott fell back at the beginning. Terry Labonte, who started in 7th position, all the drivers felt he was one of the cars to outrun here, has already moved up to 3rd place.
Terry Labonte in the 3rd position on the start. Labonte has been running very strong. Yesterday in practice, he started 7th.
Well, Ken, I made a prediction yesterday that Cale would not lead this first lap. Let's see. Here's Benny Parsons trying to move on the inside.
Parsons down low as they come to the tri-oval. As they come to the line, it is even. I think Parsons took it by just about 3 inches. Yarborough back in front at turn 1. And dragging with him Terry Labonte on the outside in the second. And over 200 miles per hour. That is Cale Yarborough's camera. If you look out the back of his car and Terry Labonte, who has been getting stronger and closer to a successful day, never won this race. Here's Labonte going for first place in the back straightaway. Terry Labonte at over 200 miles an hour into first.
He seemed to do it with almost ease. Of course, the fact that he could move by that quickly, he picked up the draft, and Cale Yarborough just moved right around.
They are in turn 3. Earnhardt has moved to 3rd spot. A car spinning at the bottom. It is Neil Bonnet in 75, and another car hammers the wall. Car slowing, trying to get away. One car head on to the wall. A terrible crash at the beginning. The front of the field is coming across. Car number 76. Potter ends up down in there. There are at least 4 or 5 cars involved. Neil Bonnet's car breaking away at the top of turn 3. That is Neil Bonnet out of car number 75.
Bonnet was on the low side of the racetrack, Ken. It looked like he broke traction as he started off the turn. There's car number 78, Richard Skillen. Dr. Skillen is against the outside wall. And here is Dave Marcus, car number 71. He was also involved.
And that looks like
that is Grant Adcock,
who had the trouble on the starting line.
Yes, he did. He did get the car to going. And incidentally, his dad...
That car really hurt.
Yes, it is. But Grant looks like he's okay. His dad is president of the Chamber of Commerce in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Short day here for Grant. He's not going to be able to give Chattanooga much exposure.
Front end gone, back end gone. They want an ambulance for Grant Adcock as he extricates himself from car number 29. He's been 5 years away from the races. Back here today, making a return to the high-speed wars this weekend at Talladega, a track that has dealt him more than his share of despair. Dr. Skillen, who cut his teeth up on the Claremont Speedway in New Hampshire, walking away from car number 78 in the second lap. Trouble out of turn 4. There you see the 64 car of Tommy Gale on the bottom right-hand side of your screen. We're going to have another look at it, and Ed Jarrett will have an opportunity to, let's see if we can find out exactly. Well, there you see 75 low, and we need to look at that again to see if anything was near him or if he's just down on the bottom.
He almost looked as if he was trying to get down off of the banking of the turn again because he was so far down below the other cars. Of course, once he made his slide, other cars not knowing what he might be going to do, which way the car was going, they started making maneuvers, and you don't make much of a maneuver at 200 miles an hour. The car will get away, as we saw it here. Several cars, as you can see, getting into this mammoth crash here on the second lap. At these speeds, when something goes wrong with one, you can see that it can affect many, many others. There's the car number 74, the yellow car of Bobby Walwack, who now makes his home in Midland, North Carolina. He's formerly from Villa Park, Illinois.
That's, I believe, Grant Adcox, who was on the ground. He has had some terrible misfortune on that. And that's Dr. Skillen, the driver beside him, showing some frustration and despair. In the early going, we have a 5-car wreck in turn 4 of the Alabama International Motor Speedway. You're watching live pictures here as they are administering to Grant Adcox.
That's Tommy Gale that we're seeing with his back to us. All the drivers are always concerned about their fellow man out there.
Grant Adcox has bad memories of other races here. Back in the 75 race, Cotton Lovell, a mechanic for him for many years, died of a heart attack while they were just going through a routine checkup out here on pit road. And that was was to be his first Grand National race since 1979 on this course. That is Grant Adcock.
Of course, we're happy, Ken, that we did see him get out of the car himself. And then, of course, the safety crews were called over to him. I'm sure that the lick that he took, his car was damaged very badly. They want to take him to the track hospital for observation.
Let's take a tighter look at what happened out there. We won't see the whole thing, but we will see, I believe, as they're taking Grant Adcock to the safety center here.
Okay, here are the leaders now as they come off of the fourth turn, and here's Bonnie down on the inside. He was all the way down on the flat part of the apron. You see a car back in the back getting loose. As a result, trying to make a maneuver when he saw Bonnie's car get loose. Bonnie trying to save the car. You can see he has the wheels cut to the right, but the momentum is just carrying the rear end right on around as he approaches the inside retaining wall.
The number 75, the Warner Hodgson car, had started in 14th position. There's Dave Marcus's car. They're looking at the front end on that. The 1976 winner of this event.
Marcus is up pretty good in the point standing, so he wants to try to get it back in there as much as he possibly can.
A quick report from Mike Joy.
They're working on the left side of Dave Marcus's car. You can see the sheet metal damage, the bent rim, and left side tire. They had a quick look under the hood, but we'll close it. It looks as if there's no left front suspension damage, they can get Dave Marcus back into the race without losing another lap.
Marcus, the only driver who ever won this race from the pole. Let's go to Larry Newberg.
Rick Castleberry is one of the crewmen on Grant Adcock's car. You've heard from Grant down at the crash scene, have you not?
Right. Grant's all right. He just got a little trouble there, and we're just out for the day.
You guys did not have an opportunity to ask Grant exactly what did happen as he saw it from his seat?
No, the car, somebody spun, and just everything broke loose from there.
Well, Grant Adcock's driving the car that Cale Yarborough went so fast in at Daytona earlier this year out of the race.
4 of the 188 laps complete here in the Talladega 500. First caution of the day comes early for a 5-car crash. Back with more of our live coverage of the Talladega 500 in a moment. Following the Talladega 500 today, stay tuned for the final round of the Canadian Open from Oakville, Ontario, Canada. That's coming up next today here on CBS Sports, and they have a rookie from Kentucky leading the Canadian Open as they finished yesterday after Fuzzy Zoeller had led the first day. Landrum of Kentucky trying to pull it out. Tom Purtzer in second, and California's young John Cook stays right there, also a stroke off the lead. Now, as we get ready for a restart, probably 5 laps away, Cale Yarborough stays out there behind the pace car at this time. Let's take another look from inside Yarborough's car, driving through the wreck scene. See, Dale Earnhardt is pulled up there. Just take a look at the debris left after the mayhem in turn 4.
A lot of debris scattered all over the racetrack as a result of those cars, 5 cars crashing, spinning all over the track. And this is something that the drivers are very conscious about and want to be very careful not to hit any of them because these tires are very easily cut.
Let's go to Mike Joy with Neil Bonnet.
Neil Bonnet's car triggered the caution. Neil, what happened?
Mike, as I was going in the third turn, I started down under some of the traffic at full speed, and something turned loose in the motor. The thing just completely exploded, dropped all the oil on the racetrack, and my car got sideways in the oil. And, you know, luckily enough, I didn't hit anything, but there's some of the cars really torn up out there.
200 miles an hour, oil all over those slick tires. Not a whole lot you can do, but hang on, is there?
Well, I got it cranked around a couple of times and got it headed back in the right direction, but you're somebody else's mercy when that thing starts out.
Let's go back upstairs.
Well, that's a misfortune for the Warner Hodgson crew. Rookies at 200 miles an hour. That's a story, and CBS took a look at it. Here's a report filed by Ned Jerry.
It's not easy being a rookie on the NASCAR circuit. Over the last 3 years, only one has visited Victory Lane, and that was Ron Bouchard right here at Talladega.
Now, to the outside goes Labonte. As the flyover, Labonte is going for the lead. Bouchard comes up the inside. 3 cars side by side. Ron Bouchard has won in a photo finish.
For the most part, rookies are student drivers, trying to earn a living and learn a profession at the same time. They must be careful because they know one small mistake can cost them their ride, their season, and even their career. Every rookie in today's race carries an extra piece of equipment. They have a yellow strip of tape on the rear bumper. This lets the veteran drivers know that they're approaching a first-year driver and that they should approach them with extra caution. This is a small part of the rookie program that was developed by competition director Dick Beatty.
Our goal is to have a rookie program to start a super speedway race and to end the super speedway race without having a crash or being involved in a crash. And I feel that with the veteran drivers giving their expertise about the different tracks, that our goal is being accomplished.
Is some foreign matter on the racetrack or the rest?
The NASCAR program includes classroom instruction at most of the speedways on the circuit. The old pros, Richard Petty, Bobby Allison, Harry Gant, and Darrell Waltrip, teach the new drivers how to race.
If you got a problem with that race car, for God's sake, come back in the pit. You're not on a half-mile racetrack. An oil leak ain't going to go away. Smoke ain't going to go away. In one turn here, you can blow a tire. So if you got something wrong with that race car, don't think you're going to figure it out and then come in. Come in and let that crew work on that car.
Pay attention to that. Make sure that you don't leave the pits with something wrong with that car. Don't get in a big hurry and leave, and one guy's got his wheel tight and the other guy doesn't.
Those are some good driving tips. I mean, don't let them go lightly, because they can save your life, and they can save our lives, too.
The instruction isn't taken lightly. The rookies know it's better to learn the easy way in the classroom than the hard way on the track.
As a rookie in NASCAR racing, there's just so many things that we don't know about the cars, and that just gives us one more opportunity to sit down and talk with some of the old-time veterans that really know all of the things that one day we'll have to know to be successful.
You really learn a lot, being, that we haven't been to the speedways before, and, the guys like Richard and Darrell and Harry, they do know their way around, and they tell you things that you don't know at first, but it registers on the racetrack, and, it really helps you keep out of trouble.
Safety and improved driving skills are not the only benefits from this education program. There are monetary awards for the top finishing rookie in each of the races, and then at season's end, there's $10,000 that goes to the Rookie of the Year.
But there's one thing about it. When you come out of turn number 2 for the first time at over 204 miles an hour and it tweaks slight right, words can't describe what's going to happen, right, Vince?
That's exactly right, Ken. But they do plant a lot of these things in their mind, and, you act on instinct many times when you're running out there at 200 miles an hour. So if they got the right thing in their mind, then the right thing maybe will come out. 7
cars have been retired by the wreck that is still being cleaned up at turn number 4. CBS Sports live coverage of the Talladega 500 will continue after this word from your local station. With 8 laps complete, 21 miles, there are the standings. Not many are taking the opportunity to come in. Terry Labonte is grabbed first, Earnhardt is second, Bill Elliott is relegated back to the 5th position at the present time. And here's the attrition from that crash early in the going. And you can add another name to it. A 7th name is the Harvey car. Number 31 has also retired. Let's go quickly to Mike Joy.
They're working on Tim Richmond, but not the race car. Although these drivers wear goggles, Tim got a piece of debris in his eye. They're trying to work it out. Coroner Raymond Beadle is here. Raymond, if that continues to irritate him, what will you do?
Well, we've already talked to Neil Bonnet. We're going to put Neil in the car if it doesn't work out. We tried to wrench it out and deaden his eye just now, so hopefully he'll be okay.
It'll take a few laps to see whether or not the solution has done its job and cleared up that eye irritation problem. Ken?
That's the 3rd pit stop he's made for that problem. Lap 4, 7, and now 8 minutes.
And I'll tell you, running at 200 miles an hour, you wanted all of your vision available to you.
And there's the vision out of car number 28, complete with a butterfly there floating along. More like floating along on a 3,700-pound elephant. Cale Yarborough in 3rd place. These cars so heavy. Cale Yarborough. Cale Yarborough, Ken Squire, the CBS. Do you read us?
Go ahead, Ken.
Okay. Got through that one. It was a big scrape behind you on that. What did you think when you came around and found that 6 cars had got tangled coming out of turn 3?
Well, I didn't see exactly what happened, Ken. I know it was a mess when I came back around. Only concern I have now is the debris we ran through from the wreck. We just hope it hadn't damaged our tires in any way. And we're going to go from here. If the two guys in front of me pit before the green comes out, I'm going to stop too, but if not, we're going to go on.
That was just the question we were going to ask. You are not going to pit then unless they come in.
Right, I'm not going to pit unless they do.
That's the story from Cale Yarborough. It's got to be a little chancy out there running through all that debris net.
Yes, it is, Ken. It certainly is a big concern of every driver.
We'll be back with more of our live CBS flag-to-flag coverage of the Talladega 500 after this message.
Most guys spend Sunday taking it easy. Not me. When I'm racing a bandit, there's no taking it easy. So I'm out here early before a race trying to relax. Just me and my scope. Just a pinch gives me real tobacco pleasure without lighting up. And that wintergreen flavor's a real winner.
Go smokeless with Skoal or Copenhagen. A pinch is all it takes.
We may have a driver change taking place. Let's go right down to car number 27.
Tim Richmond's eye is scratched. He is climbing out of the car, and Neil Bonnet, whose blown engine triggered the first caution of the day, is climbing into the Pontiac number 27, the Raymond Beadle car. The car Bonnet has not driven before, but since he did practice for the race and compete, he is an eligible replacement driver. Emergency medical technicians right now are trying to flush the debris from Richmond's eye. Then he'll go for treatment. We'll see if we can get a word from him while he's still here.
It takes a little while, Ken, to hook up the safety paraphernalia as well as the radio equipment. It looks like they have it all about hooked up now. So Bonnie, he's about the same size, not quite as tall as Tim Richmond, but he should fit in that seat pretty well.
Neil was telling us just yesterday that those seat belts, you can tighten them up as much as you want as they're working on Tim Richmond here on his eye. He said that no matter how much you tighten them up, the first time you get out in the corner and come out, they just loosen up almost so you can slap your body back and forth about an inch or inch and a half as the lower part of your back compresses from the tremendous G-forces you take on the banking here. Well, that's terrible news for Tim Richmond. Checking his eye. Tim Richmond, who won at Pocono just a week ago in the 500-mile race on that 2.5-mile track at Pocono, Pennsylvania, in one of the best races of the year. He fought to get it up into the front, and he had to fight his way back twice before he finally succeeded in winning that race that was stopped by rain twice. And now here today, he really was optimistic that he was going to make it 2 in a row.
He was very optimistic, Ken, and I predict that we'll see him back in that race car later on this afternoon. Here's Grant Adcock's car. They had to literally haul it in on the truck.
Let's take another look at what brought around this caution, the first one of the day. There's the 75 car, which has lost an engine, bottom of your screen, center, sliding out of control. And he did a good job of gathering it up, but it starts to move up, and some people behind him who probably have room to get through, Ned, considered that perhaps they weren't going to get that chance, and they took that kind of evasive action that started the chain of incidents that has had 8 cars involved, 5 of them now out of the race.
And this car that we saw slide up and hit the wall, I suspect he hit the oil that caused Neil Bonnet to spin around when the engine let go on his car, so that put him out of control, and he slid up across the track in front of other cars. They were trying to brake, maneuver around others in front of them, losing control, and we see the end result.
Now repeating, the cars out are Neil Bonnet, Dr. Richard Skillen, Tommy Gale. The Travis Tiller car number 46 has been retired. Grant Adcock took heavy abuse, and the Harvey car number 31. Those 6 cars are out. 1 car has come back on the track. Bobby Wowak, number 74, has returned to it, and they have black flagged that car since. And there's the end of car number 29.
And, of course, we saw some damage on Dave Marcus' car. They were continuing to work on it, and I believe he has gotten back in the field as well.
We are now in the 12th lap. We are in the 12th lap. They are working 12. There you see the standings as of 11 complete. And nothing changing. Notice, too, that those front 5, none of them has ever won this Talladega 500. You have to go back to the 6th position before you find a previous winner in this 15th annual, that being Richard Brooks, the man who won here and won his only Grand National race here in 1973.
He feels today is perhaps his best chance of winning this race since he won that one back in 1976, Ken.
That was
car is really working.
Strange story the year he won that race. He came here without a ride, and he left without a ride. He came here and picked up a ride of the Crawford brothers, took the car to victory. Before the race was over, they'd sold the car to someone else, and by the time he pulled into victory lane, he was back with his thumb out.
Normally, if you win a race of this stature, that will set your career up for the future, but it just didn't happen in that case. Here's Ron Bouchard, a former winner here, when he was a rookie driver on the circuit, getting a change of tires. I believe before we see the green flag wave again that we'll see others coming in. They still want to take that chance of that tire going down. They can't tell when they're riding around out there slow because of the interliner tires that they use on these cars. If the tire is a little bit low, maybe it was cut and running through some of the debris. See, he's changing all 4 tires on that car as a precautionary measure. Certainly they haven't worn the tires that bad now.
There's a windshield being repaired. Be some of that for sure before the afternoon is over.
There's a tremendous amount of pressure on the windshields here at the high speeds that they run, and just a little bit of a nick in the windshield, maybe a piece of debris from another track or a gravel or something fly up and crack the windshield a little bit. That's Jody Ridley in car number 84. Then as the pressure goes against it, it can cause it to crack, and we have actually seen the windshields cave in, and that's why they have those 3 strips of metal on the center of the windshield to help avoid that pressure.
Here's Mike Joy.
Ned, actually, that's their second windshield today. The first one got a piece of debris in it from the Neil Bonnet wreck. They put in this new one, and running around under caution, it too has developed a problem, so they're getting it securely taped in and trying to send the 1980 Rookie of the Year back on his way.
Jody Ridley, who formerly drove car number 90, number 90, the car that Richard Brooks now has control of. Dave Marcus has just come in, gone back on the track another time. Marcus, number 71, and you see the Ridley car also back out on the track as we prepare for a restart with 12 laps complete. 1 more lap and they'll turn them loose. Bobby Wowak's car has now been retired. Consultation flag out, and they have put that car back to the garage, so 7 cars have retired from that initial incident here in the Talladega 500, 2.6-mile track. Live CBS coverage. Cale, no one came in. Cale Yarborough, Ken Squire. No one came in that period. And now do you think it's a little chancy when you go back to full speed?
Well, it's going to be a little chancy, Ken, but we're going to start single file. We got 1 to go here now. If you made a stop now, you would end up about a mile back. So we're going to stay right where we are. Just hope everything's no tires are cut for anybody.
Cale, this is Ned. How's your car handling those first couple of laps that you ran under green?
Ned, the car's handling real good so far. Of course, we haven't run enough yet to really tell, but I think it's going to be okay.
Got a pretty couple of strong horses in front of you there.
Yeah, these boys are running real strong. We're just going to take a look at them and see what it looks like.
Setting for a start. Back in 5th position is Bill Elliott. In 6th, Richard Brooks. In 7th, Buddy Baker. 8th is Mark Martin. 9th is Benny Parsons. 10th is Lake Speed. 11th is Petty. 12th is Waltrip. 13th is Ricky Rudd. And 14th is Joe Rutman as we prepare for the green to come out. Hardly had they dropped the green on the command to fire the engines by Bob O'Dear, and we are under caution here. And it's been a lengthy one thus far. Lap 3 to 14 will go down as caution laps in this 15th annual Talladega 500, and those caution laps extremely costly to 7 cars which have retired. Had 3 drivers lead thus far. Yarborough jumped out briefly, then Parsons, then Labonte.
Ken, no big surprise that Terry Labonte has come to the front. In the late practice runs here yesterday afternoon, he and Dale Earnhardt, who is running in 2nd place there in the Ford, hooked up together and drafted at over 204 miles an hour. So it looks like the Chevrolet and the Ford are 2 good combinations of drafting, and I suspect once we get to going again, which we're about to do, that we'll see some laps well over 200 miles an hour.
14 laps, 37 miles about to be completed as Harold Kinder unfurls the green, and you're watching Cale Yarborough as he goes after Terry Labonte in front, Dale Earnhardt in 2nd. The field attacking turn 1. Immediately, those front 2 cars begin to draw away. That number 44 car, that is the Terry Labonte car, locking up in a draft with the Ford of Dale Earnhardt and trying to get some distance right off the flag.
This is the combination that seemed to work so well. Earnhardt running 2nd and Labonte 1st, and they're able to pull away a little bit.
We have a report that there's still a lot of oil down over there in turn 3 and 4 area. That was Bobby Allison's report to his crew chief, and there is Allison scooting up the outside, going around Richard Brooks, pulling up on Morgan Shepherd. Allison in the white white, red numeral number 22. Remember, he started 24th. He's already on the attack. Rushing through traffic, trying to win his second Talladega 500 leaders. Labonte, Earnhardt, and running third, Cale Yarborough.
Well, it didn't take Yarborough too long to catch back up once he picked up the draft of those two cars. He has a super fast engine. That engine produces as much horsepower as anyone else in the field, as indicated by the fact that he qualified at over 201 miles an hour.
A 2-second interval back to fourth place, which is at the moment Bodine.
Now, how would you like to be the meat in that sandwich sitting there between those cars running over 200 miles an hour?
They switched them around again. There's Elliott moving up behind number 21, Baker. And number 88, Bodine, dropping back. Bodine falling from fourth back to the 6th position now. He had led that battle going down the back straightaway. He finds himself now in 6th, up to 7th, Bruce Petty.
And there is drafting at its absolute best. That's why they're able to move away from the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th place cars that are running such a big pack. You can see the interval there between the front 3 cars and those that are running in those other positions back there, because they're staying in a straight line. Once they start down that straightaway, you see how straight they stay behind each other. The front cars virtually up the win, but Cale has different ideas. He pulls out, I believe, just to bring this engine momentarily.
Cale Yarborough running third. He has never won this race, nor has Earnhardt nor Labonte, the front 3. They say that Richard Brooks is running a bit off the pace now. That car has been falling back as we saw Allison scoot by him. Here they come to complete the 17th lap through the 17-degree tri-oval. Terry Labonte, who was in that dramatic finish back in 81, that Bouchard won. He on the outside, Walton in the middle, and Bouchard elected the inside and won by scant feet. Back inside, Cale Yarborough's car turns 1 and 2 at 200 mile an hour plus in this 3-car draft. You're now traveling down that long back straightaway, going to over 210 miles an hour. Nice Sunday afternoon run.
Ken, you can see the cars, they're wiggling a little bit as they go down the back stretch. It's almost impossible to run in a straight line when you're running behind another car at those kind of speeds. The steering wheel is continuously being jostled back and forth. Once they get in the corners, the second car, the best place for him to be is drop down about a half a car width, as Earnhardt did there. And that team is really working, but I believe the others are beginning to pick up on them a little bit.
Indeed they are. That second Talladega Express behind the front 3, led by Buddy Baker in 4th, Elliott in 5th, Bodine in 6th, Petty in 7th, Waltrip in 8th, is gaining little ground, as you see in turns 1 and 2.
They are definitely picking up. They got smart. They saw what was happening up front, running in the straight line, so they decided to do the same thing as Bobby Allison there trying to move around Morgan Shepherd. When you get side by side, that really slows you down. Here's Earnhardt. He's going to try to make a bid for the lead.
There's 27 down the inside, now being driven by Neil Bonnet, going under the bandit Harry Gant, closing on Bouchard. And there you see Allison just in the front of that pack.
It takes Bonnet long to get accustomed to that car number 27, didn't it?
One bit. 19 laps this time in the book, and they've gathered up the front of the field. Leaders coming by, and here comes Baker on the outside, charging into second. Here you see him going into second place. Cale Yarborough drops to third. Buddy Baker swooping down on that trio that was out in front, and now capturing the second position out of turn 2.
He is really flying. Now he's going to try to make a bid on Earnhardt.
Ford's running 1 and 2. Goodbye, Earnhardt.
Boy, they just drive right on past him as if he was sitting still almost.
200 miles an hour. See you later. Now there you see the Baker car, and he had come from a 2-second deficit behind the front 3.
Buddy Baker is a giant of a man, and he was walking around in the pit area after he qualified on Thursday here, Ken. He's been very happy all week long. A big smile on his face, and the reason for it, his car was handling so well. Here's Bill Elliott as we watch him coming up on Terry Labonte.
Meanwhile, Bobby Allison is in a pretty good draft for Ron Bouchard, but he is off the lead pack and about 5 seconds back. There you see him back in about 14th position with Bouchard. We'll get you an official position in a moment. On 47 and 22, and now Allison has moved in front of Bouchard, but wants to draft with him in their effort to overcome. Bouchard will have no part of it. He's coming right back and bringing with him Kyle Petty, and there is Bonnet in the 27 car on the attack.
Well, that's car number 27, of course, started by Tim Richmond here, was one of the fastest cars in practice, and Neil Bonnet, being the professional race driver that he is, didn't take long. There's Kathy Bodine, wife of Jeff Bodine, looking at her husband go by, but it didn't take Bonnet long to learn the characteristics of that car and start moving his
three-car draft up in front with number 3, Ricky Rudd, on the tail end of it. In front again is Cale Yarborough looking back at the second-place car, Dale Earnhardt. Earnhardt in that second position. The fastest track over which the Grand National cars of NASCAR participate. And here goes Earnhardt another time to lead. Baker coming with him. Back on the inside. Back on the inside, and it's again.
Well, Baker was about to get a little loose there.
Baker made that tremendous charge to come up. Here they come for the tri-oval. Very loose part of the racetrack now.
Yes, it is. They say this is the toughest part of the racetrack to drive. It can be a little bit deceiving. You are really running as fast there as you run anywhere on the racetrack. And the fact that you make a turn, not bank quite as steeply as it is in turns 1, 2, 3, and 4.
The leaders going down through there just put a lap on Al Elmore, the 24-year-old driver making his first run, running in a green car running by D.K. Ulrich on the bottom of the track. Now that fourth car is Terry Labonte, number 44, as Baker goes to the lead another time. Buddy Baker out of Charlotte, North Carolina. 6'4" giant. Plows down through, and here comes Labonte with him. Behind Yarborough now. Labonte pulling up, taking some drafts along into third spot. Earnhardt back to fourth. That fifth spot is Elliott.
But Labonte got sort of hung on the inside there as he pulled out, and he didn't have the momentum to completely go past Dale Earnhardt, so he left him what they call hanging out to dry, so he had to drop back into fourth position. In fact, he dropped back to fifth now as Bill Elliott moves around.
Right, back to fifth goes car number 44, Terry Labonte. In the sixth spot is Bodine, up to seventh, moves Lake Speed, up to eighth comes Waltrip. In ninth. There's Yarborough another time.
They seem to do it with such ease, but what is happening, Ken, they're picking up the draft with the car in front of him. He has bursted open the wind. You have a little bit of backroom right there. They get right in that draft and just shoot right past him. It looks like they poured 100 horsepower into the engine, but that's not really what happened. They just picked up the draft. The next car can do it as easily when he takes the notion to pass as Earnhardt looks like he wants to do on the outside. Most of them have been passing on the inside. Earnhardt decides that's not the to do that.
All of this at over 200 miles an hour. 24 laps complete, 164 to go. Here's a report from the Bobby Allison pit. Larry Newman.
Allison, Bobby's crew chief, obviously somebody we were going to watch all day moving up the middle of the path. One of the last conversations, Gary, that Bobby had before we got behind the wheel was with Neil Bonnet. Are you guys aware that Neil is in Richmond's car?
Oh, yes. We told Bobby that Neil's driving the 27 car now. They're running the same pace as the leaders right now, but there's so much dicing around going on that we're just going to kind of sit where we are and hope nobody gets away from us. The car's not working perfectly yet. We got to do a little work on it.
They're drafting together. I had the feeling that was a thought that they had before the race started, but of course Neil was going to be in a 75 car, but apparently it's still working, even though the cars are different.
Well, I don't know if they planned it that far along, you know. Bobby does feel comfortable drafting with Neil, and Neil feels comfortable with Bobby, so, you know, they're going to try and run a steady pace, and we can get in here and work on the car a little bit and hope we can get it a little quicker.
One quick pit note. We talked to Junie Dunleavy, Dick Brooks' crew chief. Remember that Dick Brooks started 5th. He's running about 20th right now. One-word answer from Junie: strategy.
Well, that's a little more strategy than I thought they would have planned at this time, Ken, dropping that far back in the pack. However, there are about, 20 to 22 cars running in that lead pack, so he's still not too far behind the leaders.
Behind the leaders, Petty is back in 10th, and Ricky Rudd in 11th on the tail end of that lead pack. And closing on them is number 98 and 12th, Joe Rutland. 13th is Benny Parsons. 14th at the present time. That is David Pearson with the 15th position belonging to Bouchard.
You mentioned Joe Rutland. He had an engine problem the first day of qualifying, qualified the second day, and Yarborough has dropped off the pace. Cale Yarborough. Cale, do you have a problem? Can you hear us? I'm passing here. Okay. Cale is definitely off the pace right now. Something has happened to that car.
He's dropping down on the apron. Everybody going by Yarborough, and so that skein of 2 wins at Michigan and the Daytona 500. Our onboard Tinkler looks like it may be in jeopardy here, as you saw him easing down to the bottom of the racetrack and now headed for pit road. Cale Yarborough, car number 28, who has never won this Talladega 500. He has led it time after time, but it looks like this is going to be another of those times.
He said something about on the right side, so he must have a tire going down or something, Ken. We could just hear him as he came into the pit telling his crew chief, Waddell Wilson, that he needs a wheel on the right side.
Well, remember at Michigan, he fell back 2 or 3 times the race and came back to win it. Let's see what's going to happen here.
Well, they have him serviced now, and he's headed on down pit road. So
right rear tire was changed.
So a tough break. Let's see if he can get out in front of the leaders and stay in the lead lap.
Here he comes. He's coming to speed as he comes down pit road, but the leaders are rapidly approaching through the tri-oval.
And it takes a while for him to get his speed up while they're already up to over 200 miles an hour. He's really going to have to accelerate to stay in front of them.
That big Talladega Express comes rambling down through the first and second turn. Yarborough is about 300 to 400 yards in front of them as they go into the back straightaway.
Of course, the problem that he will have, Ken, is the fact that they're hooked up in a draft. They will be able to run faster than he can out there running by himself. Even as fast as his car is, I suspect that they'll run him down.
Well, there you see him running by himself on the tail end of the lap, and there is the shadow behind him, which is the lead pack closing on Cale Yarborough.
Before Cale had his trouble, I was about to mention that Joe Ruttman qualified on the second day at over 199 miles an hour, which was about the 3rd or 4th fastest in the field. So that's one reason that he's been able to come up through the pack as well as he has. That car was really running fast.
Baker first, Earnhardt in second. They storm down into the first turn. That third spot remains with Terry Labonte. Terry Labonte staying third. That 4th position is Bill Elliott. Bodine is 5th, and Lake Speed is 6th. In the 15th annual Talladega 500. Next Sunday on CBS, we'll bring you a battle of 2 super featherweights. Undefeated, Hector Macho Camacho takes on Rafael Bazooka Limon in a live 12-round bout. And the real cowboys compete in steer wrestling, calf roping, and bull riding at the Calgary Stampede. All next weekend on CBS Sports, beginning at 4 Eastern. Live at the Talladega 500 as they wheel them down on turn number 4 another time with 32 of the 188 laps complete. They are overwhelming Cale Yarborough coming to the tri-oval.
And when he came back on the track after making that unscheduled pit stop, he was about 3.5 seconds ahead of the leaders, but now they are mowing him down at about a half a second a lap. You can see Buddy Baker coming up, just moving up ever so close every lap.
The 1976 winner of this event, Dave Marcus, has retired, the only man to ever win it from the pole. Oil cooler problem. And here comes Baker.
And Buddy Baker would like nothing better than to put Cale Yarborough a lap down because he knows how tough he is to beat. And if he can get him 2.6 miles down, that would make it that much easier for him. Just one other driver that would have to beat at the end.
Last lap at an average speed of 196 miles per hour. Now there's Baker sneaking up on the outside, heading to the tri-oval. Baker first, Earnhardt second, Labonte third. Still in 4th is Elliott, 5th is Bodine, 6th is Lake Speed, and Mark Martin is in 7th, with Richard Petty in 8th, Joe Ruttman in 9th, Darrell Waltrip in the 10th position. Now he should stay with that group, shouldn't he, Ned?
Yes, I would think that he'd be able to keep pace with them. In fact, what he would like to do is ride right there on the back bumper of Buddy Baker. Then, should he see the caution lights come on, he would try to draft past him and get back to the lead lap before they get back to the start-finish line. Of course, Dale Earnhardt has some other ideas. He'd like to push Cale back a little bit farther.
Back in 11th position is Neil Bonnet driving the Tim Richmond car with Ron Wishart in the 12th position. Here are the leaders for 35 laps.
10 pit stops will be coming up for these other drivers before too long, so that will put Cale Yarborough back in good position again because they can run about 36 to 38 laps on this track on the tank of fuel.
13th position at the present time is Allison. Denny Parsons is running 14th. Kyle Petty is back in 15th. To the inside, Dale Earnhardt, who turned the tide around at Nashville and won himself a race. 2 races back on the 30-race, $8 million NASCAR Grand National Tour.
Earnhardt is certainly a tough customer. He's one of the hardest chargers on the circuit. He likes to run up front. He enjoys running close with other race cars, even at the speed that they're running here today.
Buddy Baker stays is out in front. The 1975 winner of the Talladega 500 now in the lead. Cale Yarborough a lap down to him. The second place car is Earnhardt. Third place, Labonte. And for the moment, they just slipstream along in what is called the Talladega Express. Here is Earnhardt making another approach into turn 3 on the leader, Baker. Gets by the lap car, pulls up, runs out of room to run for the lead. And let's go quickly to the pits with Mike Joy.
Waddell Wilson, you changed the cut tire on Cale's car, but he continues to slip back in the field. Is there a further problem?
Well, we had to change the right side, and that messed the stagger up some. So hoping we'll get a caution, and in the meantime, be able to get our lap back and get them in here and be able to change all 4 of them.
We have a major change in the race. Car number 15. We have a major change. Earnhardt seems to be in trouble and backing out of it, and there's some other cars slowing down at turn 3. Bodine's car is slowing way down, coming out of 4. You can see at the bottom of the racetrack, car number 88, and there were cars all over him. It looked like we were going to have an incident in turn number 2 or 3. Car number 90 is pulled onto pit road, and in this last lap, several of the favorites in the event are having problems, and there is Jeff Bodine in number 88. I believe he had leg speed right behind him. He really had to hit the brakes and went sideways a bit. Buddy Baker's pitting.
Scheduled pit stop for him, and here comes his next Terry Labonte or Bill Elliott right behind him. All the drivers will be coming in. There's Richard Petty coming out of the pits. He apparently was out of gas.
That was number 90, I believe.
Let's go to Larry Newber in the pits.
Buddy Baker, who has led much of this race in the early stages, may be a surprise to those of you who have been watching races here at Talladega over the past decade. Usually the attrition is very high, but Buddy Baker has been right on the point all day long. Mike Joy at the other end of pit road.
A major chassis change on the Dale Earnhardt Ford. Car owner and crew chief Bud Moore reached in with a ratchet wrench and cranked down about 2 turns on the left rear of the automobile to try to improve the handling.
Ken, as they were giving those reports, Jeff Bodine coasted down pit road as we see Terry Labonte coming into the pit, and there is Bodine in the pit. I think he ran out of gas. As he came off the second turn, had to coast all the way around. That was a costly, you might say, error, but running out of gas on a track like this is very, very costly.
39 laps are complete. Here's the situation. We're 103 miles into it, and apparently Bodine did run out of fuel, and I believe Earnhardt ran out of fuel.
He could very well have. They run it almost to the limit, and I'm sure that they were misled a little bit in their thinking as you see Labonte go back out on the racetrack, that maybe they ran that many laps under caution, didn't burn as much fuel, thought they could go a couple of extra laps, but for some of them it didn't work.
All right, the leader is now number 27, the Tim Richmond car that Neil Bonnet is driving with these pit stops taking place, but everything will change here. This will be a wholesale change of positions as they are coming in for fuel at this time. There is Joe Ruttman's 98. There's Richard Petty coming in. Parsons in the 55. He's pitting. David Pearson has just been in. There is Joe Ruttman, set on the pole at Dover, Delaware earlier this year. And there is the Earnhardt car back out there again, and apparently did run out of fuel. Mike Joy.
Mort, did he run out of gas?
Yeah, we ran out of gas. We was going to pit him that lap, and so he would have been stopping on the 38th lap, but he ran out on the 36th. So I think we'll be all right now.
You reached in and made a major chassis change. What does that do when you crank down on that bolt?
I didn't quite understand what you were saying.
What does it do when you crank down on that bolt, when you make the chassis change?
Well, we're tightening him up a little bit. He said he was a little bit loose, so we're tightening the car up.
Back upstairs.
And Ken, when he says a little bit loose, what they've done is shift some weight from the right front to the left rear of that car as Darrell Waltrip goes back out on the track. Neil Bonnet taking over for Tim Richmond, now leading the race. Now, he'll be able to run, Ken, another 8 or 10 laps. That was the tail end of that caution period, which was about 13 or 14 laps when he was in, and they did fill it up with gas.
That's exactly what happened when they replaced Tim Richmond with an eye injury. We'll try to update you on that as soon as possible and put Neil Bonnet at the controls of car number 27. They topped the tank, so his range will extend a little further. Lap 10 is when he pitted for fuel, so we can anticipate, what, 4 more laps?
At least another, maybe half a dozen laps. And one edge that this does give him is that there's a possibility of a caution during this period. The others made theirs under the green flag. He might even be lucky enough to catch a caution.
Bobby Hillen, the 18-year-old out of Midland, Texas. Did we say Oklahoma? Midland, Texas is back on the track at this time. He's been in and fueled. We've had 3 more cars retired. Cecil Gordon has retired. Dave Marcus, I think we mentioned, he is followed by the way outside with an oil cooler problem. Remember, he got stung in that second lap crash, the first incident of the day. And the 10th car to retire was J.D. McDuffie from Sanford, North Carolina, lost the engine on car number 70. So there you see him, Neil Bonnet, not carrying the Warner Hudson colors now. Crew Chief Tim Brewer on that one.
Not too far behind him is Bobby Allison, who is running in second place. Now, Allison hasn't made a pit stop, but traditionally, all year long on the circuit, Allison has been able to get better gas mileage than his fellow competitors and still running very fast. So some of the rest of them have been wondering, what in the world is this fellow doing that has increased his gas mileage that much? But it has happened in practically every race.
So it's Neil Bonnet presently in first. Bobby Allison finds himself in second place. Ron Bouchard is currently in third here in the 1983 Talladega 500. We're back with you live at Talladega, Alabama on the world's fastest racing oval, where right now Neil Bonnet, driving the Tim Richmond car number 27, has command of the race. All the leaders, or the majority of the leaders, have now pitted. This car has not. He had made a late stop, and now it is Neil Bonnet with the advantage. Drafting is the story of Talladega. If you can't ride in a draft at 200 miles an hour, you have a problem. How do they draft? Ned Jarrett filed this report. 7-car draft for the lead. There you see them going down the back straightaway. Here's a slingshot. It's Benny Parsons dropping to the inside. They stacked them almost 3 deep. Benny Parsons at number 27 going for first place.
We've always been told that the art of drafting is a science. With that in mind, we returned to Lockheed's smoke flow wind tunnel outside of Atlanta to demonstrate some of drafting's finer points. Last time we were here, we showed you this side view of air flowing over the top of a race car and how a spoiler helps eliminate some of the car's drag. Now with this, the latest innovation in smoke flow wind tunnels, we can give you a new overhead view of how air affects race cars.
Look at those switching and swapping of positions out there, David.
The draft in air is tremendous. These cars are being sucked and blown around from all spots.
The principle of drafting is simple. One car drives through the air, punching a hole in it, and the second car comes through before the hole closes. The advantage is both cars, acting as one, use much less power to break through the air. This principle also works for 3 cars, 4 cars, or for as many as are in the draft. Although the second driver has the advantage of being pulled in the first car's wake, he cannot stay there long as no air is reaching his radiator. To avoid overheating, the second driver will back off far enough to retain the advantages of drafting, but not so close as to overheat. From this position, both the second and third cars can build enough momentum to slingshot by the first car. Notice how these drivers working together use a 2-car draft to slingshot by the first car. What all this means is the fastest car might not always win. In fact, the winner may come out of thin air.
Now, to the outside goes Labonte. As the Toyota Labonte is going for the lead, Bouchard comes up the inside. 3 cars side by side. Too close to call. A bit of the story of drafting. We've just had a change of position. Car number 27, now being chauffeured by Neil Bonnet, has come in for fuel, and you are watching the leaders as they attack turn 3. Terry Labonte's car number 44 is right there with Buddy Baker in the car number 21 as they begin to battle it out. All the leaders have now pitted, and we are looking out Bill Elliott's window. He is in 3rd position. Elliott running 3rd at the present time.
Bill is doing a good job of drafting on Buddy Baker's car number 21 as Baker drafts on Terry Labonte.
Front 3 into turn 1. Here's a quick report from Mike Joy.
Tim Richmond, that must be a frustrating feeling to have your car come in for a pit stop and you not be in it.
Well, it was. It's kind of interesting, though, to see it from this side of the pit, you know, and see how the boys work. I know they do a good job, but I didn't know they was that good.
How's your eye and what happened?
Well, after the caution, when Neil blew up, we normally take our goggles off and dry our eyes to make sure it keeps from sweating inside the goggles. And when the car slowed down, some kind of air started circulating in the car, and all the oil dry and dust and rubber came up and went in my left eye. They got some of it out when we came in and pitted, but I couldn't get everything out, so they had to take me to the hospital and got the rest of it out. The main thing is they put something in there, an anesthetic or something, that made my eyes swell and got numb, and it don't feel right now, and I'm not going to go out in Talladega and run 210 mile an hour with 1.5 eyes. So
you know, we can't drink old Milwaukee yet, so hopefully I'm going to get back in the car. I feel like the numbness is starting to go away, and Neil's doing an excellent job out there, so we're not going to take any chances. If it goes green the rest of the way and we don't have a chance to get back in, we're going to let Neil have it the rest of the way. But my eye is getting better, and I will get back in if we do have the right chance.
Back upstairs.
50 laps complete, 138 remaining. Baker fighting with Terry Labonte for the lead. Bill Elliott is in third. Still unsecure out here because the fourth place car is bearing down again, and that is number 15, Earnhardt. And Rutman is being shown in fifth, car number 98.
Rutman has really made a charge from the front. And he started in 21st position here today, and now running in fifth. That's quite a tribute to him and to Lady Harris, the crew chief, who set the car up so well.
Bobby Allison has come to sixth from the 24th starting position, and Richard Petty is in the 7th position. There you see Al Almore, car number 6, the green car down on the inside, the 24-year-old youngster that we met at the top of our program today. There's the battle for the lead. Baker first, Labonte second, Elliott third.
So now Labonte becomes the meat in the sandwich between the two Ford cars, and he knew that they were the cars that he had to beat here today because they do draft so well. They handle well in the turns. You can see how stable they are once they approach the turns at upwards of 200 miles an hour. But Labonte's car is handling well, too. Dale Inman is the crew chief on his car, and Inman was with Richard Petty when Petty won about 190 of his 197 Grand National victories. So he knows what it's all about, how to set a car up and make it handle well.
There's Richard Petty, 7th position, car number 43, a couple of wins this year. Coming up in 2 weeks, they're going to have Richard Petty Day down in Level Cross, North Carolina. There you see the 27 car coming after it. They're going to open up the whole place and raise money for the volunteer fire department. Get a chance to go all through his compound, and he's opening the entire Petty facility. They have to update their fire equipment and buy new band uniforms, and that's how they're going to do it in Level Cross.
Well, they'll be commemorating his 25th year in Grand National competition, and what a career that has been.
Tires may be the story. Here's Larry Newman.
Came off of Ron Bouchard's car was a routine tire change. You know, the temperature on these tires, when the tire meets the racing surface, is supposed to be about 190 to 200 degrees. This tire got so hot, no problem with the tire, but it got so hot that it actually melted the paint that was used to read out Goodyear. It was that hot on the racetrack, and that's an unusual situation. Mike Joy covering the other end of the pits today with yet another story from down here where it's about 100, I'd say.
It's just about that, Larry. Joe Ruttman started back in the 11th row. He's now in the top 5. That thing really must be working for you, Buddy Parrott.
Well, Mike, it really is. The car's working real good. We just had a right side change. Got to look at the tires. We took the tire temperatures and it looked real good, and maybe we'll have a good day for this Levi Garrett Benfield Racing team.
Did you have to make a chassis change?
No, we didn't have to make a chassis change. The car's riding about neutral right now, and at this weather stage, you know, the overcast skies, that's really going to help us a lot. And like I said, we've had a few problems in the last few races, but maybe we can run 500 miles and give the fans a show today.
Kim?
Joe Ruttman, who gave us quite a show at Daytona a couple of years back. There's Baker going through traffic. There you see Bodine's car and Benny Parsons, number 55.
And Bodine is about to go a lap down, and we understand that Benny Parsons had to make an extra pit stop, so we're assuming that he's going a lap down also. Bodine did run out of gasoline. That put him farther back in the field. Now he's about to go a lap down.
90 car also going to lap down. Richard Brooks, who won it in 73. The man out in front. And there's Bill Elliott passing car number 90. Richard Brooks, the 73 winner. The man who won it in 75, Buddy Baker in the lead. Here he is closing up on Bodine. Baker loves this track. He loves to run fast.
Well, he's the only driver to win 3 in a row on this racetrack, and one of, 2 drivers to win 4 here. I think Darrell Waltrip has 4 wins, and Baker is the only other driver that has won that many times here.
Terry Labonte stays right there in second place. Terry Labonte holding on to that second spot, and Bill Elliott maintaining third. But the rest of the field is gathering up on that trio. The 4th position is Earnhardt. The 5th position being Ruttman. There you see a little further back. That next battle behind us is about a half second behind. It's back to 5. There is Earnhardt. And right with him comes Neil Bonnet and Richard Petty. Petty now being 7th. So we'll be back with more of this Talladega 500 shortly. CBS live coverage of the Talladega 500 continues after this word from your local station.
This is CBS.
There's a thunder rolling across the Carolinas in the form of Ford Thunderbird.
Quality control has been excellent. In fact, I've been so impressed that I purchased the black Thunderbird for my son. The dollar value of the 1983 Thunderbird is the best of any of the automobiles that I looked at.
Quality is here, and you're not going to pay any extra for it.
Take a test drive down Thunder Road at your Carolina Ford dealer today.
Ford's done it right.
Mr. Copperfire, General Copper and Brass Company of Collingdale has a full line of copper and copper alloys in sheets, rods, and tubes. Our services include slitting, sawing, and shearing. General Copper has bearing bronze up to 24-inch OD and 105 inches long. Whether your order is large or small, make General Copper and Brass Company of Collingdale, Pennsylvania your first call. Thank you.
WKRP, weeknights at 11:30.
This CBS Sports Special is sponsored by Refreshing Hawaiian Punch. Speed Stick Deodorant, the wide stick. Effective protection in just a few strokes. Speed Stick by Menon. And by the makers of Skoal and Copenhagen. A pinch is all it takes.
We're working the 59th lap at the present time. Bobby Allison has fallen back to the 8th position behind Richard Petty as things are lining up. And there you see the leader, Buddy Baker. Some lap traffic. Jeff Bodine staying right there in the 88 car, the green and white car. The second place car is currently Terry Labonte, right there behind Baker. And there is Bill Elliott showing you a picture of what it looks like from third position as he addresses the business of trying to catch the blue and yellow, number 15 in second. Pulling up to lap Jeff Bodine as they wheel down into turn number 1.
Bodine's car is certainly capable of running with the leaders, Ken. The difference is that he ran out of gas, and now he finds himself a lap down. He would like to try to stay up there in case the caution comes out, that he can grab past him. But here's Terry Labonte wanting to lead again.
And there you see the standings after 50 laps. That's after 50 laps. Baker first, Labonte second, Elliott third, Earnhardt, Rutland, Allison, Petty, Bonnet. And then 9 through 16, Cale Yarborough, Lake Speed, Ricky Rudd, Ron Bouchard, Darrell Waltrip in here, Kyle Petty, Joe Rutland, Mark Martin, Harry Gant, Morgan Shepherd, David Pearson. That Harry Gant car on the last report was in 17th position. Well, those are the cars still maintained. Here is Cale Yarborough coming in another time. Yarborough back on pit road another time.
Now, he made his pit stop earlier than the others, Ken, because of the flat tire. You can see them cleaning the windshield as Cale gets the car put in gear and ready to go. Once they get the service on it, they are changing the left side tires on his car this time around. They changed the right side the other time, so now he's ready to go, and we'll watch him go down pit road as he accelerates back up to speed, changing the gears. They have full-speed transmission in these cars. You start off in first and then just change right on through the gears, right into fourth and out on the track.
Earnhardt has taken the lead. Baker comes back for it. Here's Larry Newber.
With Leonard Wood, the crew chief on Buddy Baker's machine, you know, Buddy leads the league and wins here for at this racetrack. He's led more laps of this race. So I'm a little surprised to see him running so hard so early. This race is normally very high in attrition.
Well, we kind of let him make his own decision, you know, whether to lead out front or run behind, depending on whether he's abusing the car. But if you stay out front, you're keeping the engine cool, you know, because the air is getting to the radiator, you know, and cooling the engine down. But you burn a little bit more gas that way, but, you know, if he wants to lead and can lead, I'd just soon even be out there.
One of the reasons why you hired him, wasn't it?
Well, that's correct.
Buddy led 460 laps of this race going into today, and he's adding to that total every lap he's out there.
Dale Earnhardt, 1979 Rookie of the Year, 1980 Grand National Champion, took a stab at first place. Now he falls back a bit as Baker rolls around the outside and goes for lead. And here is Elliott going up to second place. Bill Elliott into second. That's almost a total independent team. His brother Ernie builds the motors down in Dahlonega, Georgia. We had Fords running 1 and 2, and the last time we had a total Ford sweep, I believe, was 1968 Atlanta.
It has been quite a while, Ken. Of course, they are somewhat in the minority as far as numbers of cars in the field, but since the recent rule change, the Fords have really been running good. Baker won at Daytona, then Earnhardt won at Nashville on the short track.
1969, 6500. They swept 5 spots that day. And it happened again today. You'll know at lap 188 in our live coverage of the Talladega 500. For the moment, you have Fords running first and second with Baker in front, Elliott in second, and the Chevrolet of Terry Labonte in third.
Well, now Earnhardt has taken that position, so you have the Fords in the first 3 positions.
Right, and back goes Labonte to the 4th spot, hanging out in the back end of that group as they go down the back straightaway. Cancel all of that. They're changing position. The car of Joe Rutland is in 5th. Back to the inside comes Terry Labonte in number 44 on the bottom of the track. He's up to 3rd. 64 laps complete this time by. Here's part of the one they estimate. The Bama Patrol says there's 95 to 100,000 people here today. Labonte lost the draft and falls way back, and I think he's losing an engine.
Trouble on the car number 44 of Terry Labonte. You see the smoke coming from him. He quickly gets down on the inside of the racetrack in, which is a very smart thing to do. And
caution is out. Caution is out. Second caution of the day, as they fear he may have thrown some oil down as he went into the corner. He was right in the groove, and yellow is on the track for the second time.
Very heads-up driving by Terry Labonte and the fellows behind him. He gave him the hand signal, I'm sure, as he went in there.
Look at Yarborough trying to roll through traffic. You see him coming around. Remember, they raced back to the line, and Yarborough is trying like the dickens to get a lap back.
He's trying to get,
and so is Bodine in the 88.
They're working together. This is one time they need
Here comes the 15 up to put him a lap down. They have him in a sandwich to the tri-oval. Here they come to the line. Bodine is going to stay in there.
Bodine got his lap back. It was very close as far as Cale. We think he did, but it was too close to call. We'll let you know in a moment. Cale was really hampered there by the move of Dale Earnhardt trying to put him that lap back down. Here's Labonte's car as it coasts to the pit.
We may have a replay to take a look at what happened to Terry Labonte at some just about 200 miles an hour. Let's watch what happens here. He's right up in the groove. That's not, that is, there you see him on the inside.
As Cale goes past on the outside, Neil Bonnick's running right on Cale Yarborough's bumper. But you can see what he was looking at, the smoke as he came up on it. We have seen cars that smoke worse than that, but it really blocks the view of the drivers as they come up on a smoking car, and that's always a big concern. But Labonte very alert. They got the car down on the inside of the racetrack, and the others saw his signal, got on the outside. We understand that Cale did get his lead, get back in the lead lap. Let's go to Mike Joy in the pit.
Here's the second place car, Bill Elliott. Right side tires, a clean of the windshield, 22 gallons of gasoline. They're going for all 4 tires this time. They'll change all 4 on Elliott's car. Let's go to Larry Newberg.
Dale Earnhardt has been among the leaders, particularly the last 20 or 30 green flag laps. Rubber all the way around, all 4 sides. The first thing that Dale reached for was a bag of ice. Mike Joy.
Routine pit stop on Waltrip's car. You see Jeff Hammond sling that 65-pound jack around. Waltrip gets a soft drink, water, throws some on the windshield to help clean it as they will change all 4 tires of the Junior Johnson Chevrolet driven by Darrell Waltrip.
Defending champion Darrell Waltrip there, just getting back out.
Again, it looks almost as crowded in the pit area there as those 100,000 people up in the grandstands here, but the drivers do take advantage of these caution periods to come in and change those tires. This is the first time we had the opportunity to change those left side tires, and as both of our pit reporters said, the drivers that are in now are changing all 4 tires during this caution period. Here's Buddy Baker. He apparently is back out first, right behind the pace car.
What a misfortune for Terry Labonte. They really thought they had it gathered up. Late yesterday, everyone was saying he was the driver to watch. Still has registered that 1 win and 1 only at Darlington back in 1980.
Well, I was mistaken. Buddy Baker had not made a pit stop. He was, of course, the leader behind the pace car, but he's coming into the pit right now.
So we have completed 66 of the 188 circuits around the Talladega Speedway, and we'll be back with more in a moment. At the world's fastest motor speedway here in Talladega, Alabama, with Ned Jarrett, I'm Ken Squire topside, and we're going to take you back just a few moments to what could be the turning point in this race. Car number 28 and the green and white number 88. 88 is Bodine, 28 is Yarborough. They were a lap down. They were trying to make their lap up after a blown engine on Terry Labonte. Trying to keep them a lap back was the 15 on the inside of Earnhardt, the 21 of Baker on the outside. They were running for the lead. And watch what happens here.
As they approach the start-finish line, Cale is on the back bumper, but I'm not really on the back bumper, but he picked up the draft of him, and with the car of Earnhardt on the inside and Baker on the outside, I think Bodine helped to suck Cale just enough. When they got to the start-finish line, you can see maybe he was a foot ahead, and that should make a big difference in the end of this race.
Les. Let's go to Mike Joy. Nobody else? Again, here's Mike Joy.
Terry Labonte brought out this caution. What happened? Well, I don't know. The Budweiser Chevy was running awful good, and I was coming down the front straightaway, and it started losing a little bit of power, and I guess it's spun a bearing or something. Knocked a hole in the pan, but, you know, the car was running good, and it's kind of unusual for us to have engine trouble, so we'll just be back next week.
Looks like you won't be in the garage long. You've been asked to relief drive?
Yeah. I think Kyle's a little sick right now, and he wants somebody to drive his car.
Back upstairs.
Well, when he says Kyle, he's talking about Kyle Petty, who drives the car number 7, and we're ready to go racing again here.
6th try for Labonte. Still on his race. 98 is the top of the pitch. Joe Rutland as the field comes down with Earnhardt in the lead, and the second-place car is Bill Elliott in the number 9. As they scoot into the first turn, Neil Bonnet. Here's Cale's car. Remember, he is on the tail end of the lead lap. And look at the traffic in front of him as we get back underway. And Baker is coming out very slowly. Buddy Baker has just flipped off pit road and down into turn 1. He is in big trouble. 18 cars are in the lead lap, and you can call it 17. Something is really amiss with Buddy Baker. There you see him, hardly rolling, about 65, 70 miles an hour down on the bottom of turn 1. Meanwhile, the leaders are in turn 3.
Ken, it looked like when Baker made his pit stop a moment ago that maybe he had lost the brakes on that car. Of course, that's not causing him to go slow right now. There might be something else wrong as the leaders come down and put Joe Rutland a lap down. And Joe is coming out of the pit now. He was in the top 5 before that caution.
He's coming up very slowly as well. Bonnet drops to the inside. Allison is right there, too, in the hunt. As they line them up 2 by 2 into turn number 1. Neil Bonnet, thrust car number 27 back in front. There's the 27 on the low side. The high side is Earnhardt out of turn number 3.
Very heavy now as they really get down to hard racing. Here's Allison making a move.
Allison down to the inside, going through it. Harry Gant, who's in line back on the end of the lead lap, about 17th spot. He's making his attack now. And there's the picture from Bill Elliott's car as they swing down into turn number 3, working lap 71.
Ken, Bobby Allison likes to lead any race that he possibly can, but it's always an incentive there. He's leading the Grand National point standing going into this race today. There is a 5-point bonus for any driver who leads the lap, and that should make the difference in the championship at the end of the year.
That is the Parsons car that's up there, and still hanging on the tail end is the Harry Gant car. The Parsons car is running right up there, and he is running a lap down. He is a lap down. Benny Parsons, right behind the leader in the 55 car, is running a lap away. He's trying to make that lap up right now. Bobby Allison has fought his way from 24th position in the lead. And now another member of the Alabama gang, Neil Bonnet, down the inside, takes the lead. Bonnet goes into first. Allison dropping back a bit up in the banking. Parsons has his lap made up. Third spot is Earnhardt. Gang warfare out of turn 4 into the tri-oval. Getting a bit of a draft off Parsons is Neil Bonnet in the 27 car, replacing Tim Richmond. Third is Allison, fourth is Earnhardt, fifth is Bodine, sixth is Elliott.
Earnhardt's car, after they make that adjustment, seems to be working very well. Let's go to Larry Newber. He's looking at the Buddy Baker.
Ned, we're just about absolutely certain the only problem Buddy has is brakes. We say he has no brakes, we mean no brakes at all. That's why he went so slow coming around the last lap. He was hoping to go slow enough so when he came down the pits, he would be able to stop. We didn't know whether or not Buddy was going to try and bring it here to his pit stall or take it back to the garage, and now it looks as though Buddy has hauled her behind the wall.
Yes,
Mike
he has.
Joy?
They're in the garage, Ken. They're going to try to fix that car, get some brakes in it, get it back in the race. We'll go and get the story for you.
Unfortunate for Buddy Baker. Meanwhile, just barely in the lead lap, there is Benny Parsons. Car number 55, he's never won this race. 1973 national champion. Neil Bonnet locked up in a draft with him. Then it's 20 car lengths back to the second place car, which remains Dale Earnhardt. The third place is Bodine, who did that incredible job of making up that lap in the Cliff Stewart car. Footing, Parsons, one lap down, Neil Bonnet.
And there wasn't a great deal that Benny Parsons could do about that, Ken, because Neil just simply picked up the draft, moved right around him, and put in that lap down. Now, Benny has had one of the fastest cars. He qualified in third position, but he made an extra pit stop under the green a while back, and that's the reason he's a lap down.
As they charge back to the line another time, it will be Bonnet in first, Earnhardt in second, Bodine in third, Allison fourth, Elliott is in fifth, Bouchard is up into the sixth position, Lake Speed hanging right in there. You're looking out now on the field as they go through turns 1 and 2. Dale Yarborough's car right in there behind Lake Speed. Lake Speed has done Mississippi driver has done a terrific job today with a Haas Ellington car. He's been right up here in the middle of this lead lap.
Yes, he has, Ken. He ran a very good race here in May, the spring race at Talladega. I think he finished in third place and ran with the leaders all day long. He likes this racetrack, as many of the other drivers do.
Bodine made that lap up, now in third spot. We saw his wife a little earlier down there on pit road. Counting the laps off for him. He is third. Allison fourth. Bouchard down on the inside working on Elliott. Behind them comes Lake Speed, and then following along is Cale Yarborough. Yarborough is in eighth. And Yarborough has made up the lap he has lost. Sure, those leaders aren't too happy about that.
No, they are, Ken, because he is absolutely one of the toughest competitors that they ever run up against. As we see Earnhardt move into the lead there in the car number 15. Bodine follows around, but here comes
Neil Bonnet back on the inside for third, for second. Fixing the tires up for some more tire changes here, putting those lug bolts on. Back they come out of turn 4. Elliott's up to fourth, 195 mile an hour last lap. Now there's Bill Elliott right in there behind Jeff Bodine. That's now third place that you're looking at from the fourth place car. Bill Elliott out of Dawsonville, Georgia, the Lanigan area.
Look how close Neil Bonnet is running on the back bumper of Dale Earnhardt. Now that is drafting at its best. He drops back just a little bit as they go into the turn, drops about a half a car length below him, but as they accelerate off the turn, then he's able to move right back up on him. That is doing a good job of that.
Here again is Larry Newman.
Well, Ken, we are going to have another driver change. Kyle Petty, as reported earlier, apparently has a flu problem. Terry Labonte standing by. We were just talking with Mike Dean, Kyle's crew chief, a couple minutes ago. Terry showed up, and now they're getting the final instructions. The biggest concern here is the height difference between Kyle, who's kind of long-legged, and Terry. Terry's about my size. I like to call that normal, around 5'8", 5'9". Kyle has these lanky legs. Final instructions right now coming in from Mike Beam to Terry Labonte.
His class was like 49-20, and I said it's loose, and he never said anything. So I said, well, you know, we'll just wait to have it costing. I said, is it loose? He said, I'm sick. I said, okay, you know, so we'll just go by it. You know, if they have the costing, and I'll ask them, okay?
It is Kyle's decision. He'll be making that decision from the cockpit.
Lake Speed is running the Haas Ellington car up in fifth position, car number 1. An Ellington car 1 here with Donnie Allison back in 1977. There's Cale Yarborough's car as he continues to nip away. He is now up into fourth position. Yarborough is in fourth, but someone is down on his left flank, giving him a little trouble as they go into the back straightaway. There he is in that fourth spot. The battle on to win the 15th annual Talladega 500. Will it be an old war horse or a new name? We'll know in 188 laps. Next weekend on CBS Sports, the 74th U.S. Clay Court Championships. Defending singles champion Jose Hugueras and Virginia Rezick are expected to face stiff competition from a strong international field. Saturday, we'll show you the women's singles final and Sunday the men's. Join CBS next Saturday, 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central and Pacific. Guess who's back in first place? made his lap up, and here in our live coverage of the Talladega 500, Cale Yarborough is again showing the way with Neil Bonnet driving the Tim Richmond car in second. Morgan Shepherd has retired. While we were away, Morgan Shepherd came in. 2 laps back, they averaged 196 miles per hour. Now look at car number 15 driving down onto the inside at about 200 miles an hour. And pulling alongside Neil Bonnet. Here's Earnhardt into second place and approaching Cale Yarborough, the leader in turn 3 and 4.
Earnhardt's car does seem to be working very well in the draft, Ken, and that will absolutely be a key here this afternoon as they put another lap on Al Elmore down on the inside. But Neil Bonnet, he doesn't like running back there in third, but he can't quite make it that time.
Up into the 5th position has come Darrell Waltrip. He's beginning to show some muscle on number 11, and we thought he was also showing some smoke. It looks like there's some smoke off car 11. There you see the 3rd place car, Bonnet. The 4th place car, I wonder if it's tire smoke, Neil. Car number 11.
It does look like when he goes off that second turn that there is smoke coming from that car, but he gets on the straightaway here. I can't see any on the screen. Whether it's maybe slipping a little bit as he goes into the turn, so you can see it looks like there's a little smoke coming from that. We'll have some of our pit reporters to check on that and see if he does have a problem, but it certainly isn't affecting your speed.
Bouchard is in 4th, and there again you saw what appeared to be smoke off that car. Number 11, Darrell Waltrip in 5th. For that story, here's Mike Joy.
Jeff Hammond. He's talking with car owner Junior Johnson. Jeff, they're looking for the tire, seeing a little smoke from the car. What is it, that smoke?
Might be a little bit of a tire rubbing just a little bit, or just a little bit of seepage, but otherwise everything else is fine. And, we just that's a little concern that really nobody needs to be worried about right now because we're running fine. No problem with Darrell or anything in here.
Back to you, Ken.
Lake Speed is the car number 1 that is in the 6th position, right behind Darrell Waltrip, who won it last year, the only man to win this race twice. Back to the leaders. Yarborough making up a lap and out in front again. What a remarkable performance by the Waddell Wilson crew in the Rainier car. And there's more smoke off that number 11. It sure appears as if something's rubbing.
Yes, it does, Ken, and it looks like as he comes off of the turn, when there's a shifting in the body or shifting of the weight, is when it's happening. So as Jeff Hammond pointed out, it could be that it's rubbing a little bit. It might not be a major problem, but I'm sure it's something that they'd like to get in and take a look at, but they'd like to do it under a caution.
Bill Elliott is back to 7th. Richard Petty is in 8th. Bo Dine is back there in 9th.
And Kim, now that Cale Yarborough has moved out front, the pace has picked up. The last lap around, he ran 197.8, where they were running about 196, and someone else was leading.
That was lap 85, 103 remaining. We've had 2 cautions thus far. 14 cars have retired. Mike Potter's number 76 has fallen out, and the latest retiree, Morgan Shepherd, was the 14th of the 40 cars that started. Latest report had 15 cars in the lead lap. David Pearson is running in the tail end of the lead lap in 15th position. Running 14th is Harry Gann, and 13th on the overall is Mark Martin. Back to the leaders.
Buddy Aaron's in car number 67 going a lap down. Buddy has a new type of a fan club. He's got a guy from Pennsylvania that has set up a fan club, and he's joining. Every bit of the money goes into his racing operation, so that's going to help Buddy out a little bit. He doesn't have a major sponsor.
Meanwhile, running all out back, free and lonesome, Al Elmore, the 24-year-old driver who's making his first try at a super speedway today. And he's staying in it, staying out of trouble, and that's what counts.
He's hanging right in there, and when the cars have lapped him, he's moved down out of the way, as he was told to do in the NASCAR drivers meeting, and doing a good job. Is that Ron Bouchard coming in and making a good move?
1981 winner right there. Remember, he made that dramatic move under Waltrip and Terry Labonte.
Well, he knows what that's all about down there. He's been there before.
Running side by side with Earnhardt is Ron Bouchard from Pittsburgh, Massachusetts, number 47. We had a little problem with our signal that day and went black towards the end, and he's falling back a bit now. Father of the Pittsburgh man, slightly perplexed. The television set, or attempted to put it through the wall. And that car came to the finish line. We have no picture that day. Trust that won't happen today. It looks like we're in for another typical Talladega finish.
Well, Tim, the reason that he's falling back there, he tried to make that move on the inside, trying to move up into second position, and once he got out of line, they were all jamming into each other. They were able just to pull right on around him, and that can happen. Sometimes you get left out there hanging out, and the others go on by you. So you have to be very careful when you make that move.
I would imagine those spotters around the track were really watching that car number 11, the one that is in 4th position, the one of Darrell Waltrip right there. You see him running just behind Cale Yarborough, Dale Earnhardt, and Neil Bonnet, because he is showing smoke each time around. And if there is something rubbing with these kind of speeds, it doesn't take very long for a tire to really change shape.
Well, it really doesn't, and it would depend a great deal on whether the rubbing would be on top of the tire, on the flat surface of it, or on the side. There's very little rubber on the side. As we see it again, as it comes off of the turn, that's when it seems to be the worst. There's very little rubber on the side of the tires, and it wouldn't take long for it to rub through, but I suspect as it comes off the turn that the body is going down on the tire and causing it.
Now, I don't know, Ned, if this is a sight job, but Lake Speed has complained via his two-way radio and then on to NASCAR that Waltrip is leaking oil. And Lake Speed is claiming that his windshield is spattered with oil.
Okay.
That's that car right in front of Bill Elliott.
Yes. Well,
Bill, if you mind pulling up, we could take a look at his windshield. He can't hear us during the course of the race, but there's the car that has signaled on his own radio.
Maybe he did hear you. He pulled right up.
That he is getting some oil off car number 11. That has been reported in NASCAR, and see what happens here.
Well, it's a little strange. Most of the time, there's an oil leak. You would see it on the straightaways as well as in the turns, and we're only seeing that on the turns, but I don't know.
How about on the valve cover?
Well, it could be.
Awfully low. It's way back.
Yes, it is. It's towards the rear end of the car. Of course, now it could be that it would be a rear axle seal or something like that leaking a little bit.
Meanwhile, the leader remains. Cale Yarborough up in that first spot. He's come from a lap back and fought his way back into this position over the second-place car, the familiar yellow and blue colors of the tough customer Dale Earnhardt. And here comes another approach from Waltrip now, the only man to win it twice. He won it last year and won it in '79. He's right there, barking. And now it looks like there's a little more smoke going from a car and dropping down on the inside.
Definitely smoke coming from one car, and he got out of the...
It might have been Lake Speed, or it might have been...
It is the car number 1 of Lake Speed.
Lake Speed's car, the one who was complaining that his windshield was being covered by a foreign matter. He is now on pit road in the Haas-Ellington car, the team that won here in 1977. Still, Yarborough in front, excuse me.
Again, Ken, Lake was very alert. They got the car down out of the line of traffic so that it did not dump oil. We see the smoke coming from Darrell Waltrip's car once again as he comes off of that turn. But Lake Speed, very up to his driving, getting his car into the pit area safely.
Speed's car is down. Remember, he's been running in 6th position. Working on it now. Meanwhile, Cale Yarborough, trying to win the Talladega 500 for the first time, stays in front. Next up on CBS Sports this Sunday afternoon, the final round coverage of the Canadian Open, where Ralph Landrum, the rookie, is in front by 1 stroke over Johnny Miller, and Ed Purser, who's been right up in it from day one, is just another stroke back. Andy Beam having a good round for 17 holes. That's next this afternoon. Oakville, Ontario, here on CBS. Will a rookie win there? Will a rookie win here? Cale Yarborough, a veteran, has never won it. He's currently leading. We have just received the halfway marker on the field. They are halfway, and we've had a report from the backstretch of a light spattering of rain. Another factor, now that we are halfway, if it should start to rain, they could call it at any time then.
Yes, they could, again. Of course, they make every effort to get in every lap of the race that was advertised. And even though there have been some clouds floating around here today, everybody felt that there would be an excellent chance, of course, completing the full 500 miles.
Well, there you see, 95 of the 188 laps complete. 93 to go, 252 miles down, 25 lead changes. Looking at 67 a few years back. Average speed down considerably from the 174 miles an hour that Lenny Pond cranked out when he drove a Harry Ranier car to victory lane here in 1978, 77. And now Cale Yarborough is trying to get Ranier another win.
And Kim, those lead changes that we're seeing on the leaderboard there do not include the number of times that they've changed somewhere around the racetrack. That is on the official lead changes back at the start-finish line.
Cale Yarborough is in first. He has made up a lap. Most dramatic fashion, as you saw a bit earlier here in our CBS flag-to-flag coverage. The second spot remains with Dale Earnhardt. Holding on, hugging second place, and right behind him comes Darrell Waltrip in third position in car number 11. And there's Neil Bonnet driving the Tim Richmond number
pit stops coming up very shortly here, Ken. There'll be scheduled pit stops. In fact, Jeff Bodine has already come into the pit. Remember, he ran out of gas a little bit earlier. He's not going to take that chance again.
That fifth spot is Bill Elliott carrying our second CBS onboard camera. There's Bill Elliott looking at the fourth place car. We might get a look here at that smoke they were talking about off car number 11, Darrell Waltrip.
Well, as we see him on the straightaway, we can't see any evidence of that smoke, but as they approach the turn, we'll see that's where it has been coming from Darrell Waltrip's car. It looks like from the left rear as he comes out of the turn. We're still watching as Bill Elliott doing a good job of drafting. Now Bill's going to decide to pass him up on the outside.
Here's Earnhardt on pit road. Second place car pulling in. Pit stop under green. Lug nuts flying, the tires coming on, the Budmore crew, this is where they're at their best. We're watching the time ticking away as they put the fuel in, change 2 tires on Dale Earnhardt. 1 at Nashville, 2 races back. They push him away. Not bad for 2 tires of fuel net. There could be a driver change right here. Let's go to Larry Newberg.
Well, as I commented before, Kyle will make the decision during this pit stop. Right now, he's in very close consultation with his crew chief, Mike Beam. They've been together for quite a number of years. Kyle has chosen to stay in the car. Terry Labonte standing by with a jury-rig helmet as far as the radio communications, but no go, at least on this pit stop.
10, unless it's absolutely necessary. They couldn't afford to make a pit stop on a green, to make a driver change on a green flag pit stop because it would simply take too much time. They'll hope for a caution if they're going to do that.
Now you see Elliott pulling up. And we have our CBS cameras in first and second spots for a moment out here. Lake Speed's retirement has been officially announced. 15th car out of the field. Lake Speed. Bad break for him, his 4th try here, and he was running so well today. I think we're going to see Waltrip coming in as number 90 goes around him. This is the time when they all should be coming in. No, indeed, it is the second place car. Bill Elliott getting ready to come up on the pit road. Elliott in the Ford drops down. Here he comes into the pits. This taking place in lap 99. Actually, lap 100. You're inside Elliott's car as he pulls up, and his cousins and brothers and friends from Dawsonville, Georgia, go to work.
Now, you notice how they clean the windshield on these cars, Ken. That's a fellow back across the wall that has that special apparatus. They're only allowed 5 men over the wall, and you can see those 5 men to work on the car. That's a NASCAR official standing up in front of the car as he moves away. Actually, that was Waddell Wilson waiting for Cale Yarborough to come in, I believe, but there is normally a NASCAR official on the scene when they make these stops.
Counting bodies to make sure they don't put too many over. They'll penalize them right in front of their lap if they catch an extra man over the wall.
And here Cale is coming into the pit, so the leader coming in, and Richard Petty coming in right behind him. All of them will be coming in before too long because they are getting low on gas as we watch Cale come down pit road.
Now, part of the way you make up time is being very smooth getting in and getting out. It isn't just the pit stop itself when those men come over the wall, those tire changers and jackmen go to work. But if you have a really good driver who is consistently quick on getting in and out, uses the brakes properly, you can make up 3 or 4 seconds. And his second here is 300 feet on the racetrack.
It can make a big difference in how quickly you're able to accelerate, not break the wheels loose. We see Cale, he made a 16.1/10 second pit stop. Very good. Richard Petty beat him a little bit because Petty came in behind Cale. Now Cale is going out on the racetrack behind Petty. So he has some catching up to do. And whether that difference was on pit road or whether part of it was in approaching the pits and going out.
Richard Petty coming back to full steam. He's won here once. The man in front is the man who's only man to win it twice. There he is. Waltrip at number 11. And Harry Gant is very much up in the hunt now. He is being shown in 5th position overall. And they're saying there's a crack developing in Bill Elliott's front windshield, and there you see it. Crack beginning to develop. The stress on those windshields as they batter through the wind at 200 miles an hour. It's a wonder. Remember one time Cale Yarborough had one land in his lap before they put those 3 stress boards in back of those windshields.
It can happen. There is a lot of pressure there, but if one has to crack, the one in Elliott's car is the best place. It's on the right-hand corner.
Waltrip ready to pit. And Harry Gant ready to pit.
We'll see if they take a look at what might be causing that smoke. Of course, their greatest concentration will be on changing right side tires and gasoline. Mike Joy is there. Here's Waltrip.
Waltrip brings the car down to a stop next to the pit wall. Jeff Hammond puts the car in the air. Henry Benfield adds the gasoline, and Waltrip gets a drink as they service the car. It's the only break these drivers get in the running of a 500-mile race. They are not going under the hood to check on that possible oil leak problem. Let's go to Ken Squire.
Back comes number 11, Cale Yarborough. There you see the 55 and the 33 rolling out. And the number 3, at number 3 is the Richard Childress car. Ricky Rudd controls of that. He must have pulled an upset here today, and they've been running well.
He got his first victory ever a couple of months ago at Riverside, California on the road course.
Leader pitting, number 27, Bonnet coming in. The Richmond car. They changed 3 members on the crew just about 4 races ago. They've had 2 third places, a win, and 1 DNF. They're doing something right down there on that car.
Yes, they are. Tim Brewer, a young crew chief, worked with Junior Johnson several years ago. Actually, he started his career with Richard Childress, then went to work with Junior Johnson. A couple of years ago, went to work with MC Anderson when Cale Yarborough was the driver there. And then, of course, this year when MC Anderson sold out his racing operation to Raymond Beadle, he went with him.
And now Eddie Tharp and Barry Dodson and Pete Peterson from the old team have joined the new team. And the team seems to be really working together. Here they are coming back out. Good Richmond's best finish in this race was 7th his rookie year here. Neil Bonnet is now, as we mentioned before, driving that car after Tim Richmond had something into his eye and had to be taken out of the car. Now there you see Benny Parsons and Harry Gant. And the patrons on that car, the Vandals are not here today. Jenny Vandal in the hospital and her friends trackside as well as in the racing area down there. Wanted to know she is missed today. Done a lot with the motorsports and with those 2 cars in the past several years.
They certainly have. Bobby Allison is being shown as the leader now. Now, Allison is not pitted. Remember, a little earlier here this afternoon when they made their pit stops under green, Allison went about 4 or 5 laps longer than any of the other drivers. That could work to his advantage here as we go on in the race.
They run him out of phase, is what they say, and keep him just a little bit different from the other cars in the racetrack. And here he is pitting right now. Bobby Allison, the leader of the Alabama gang, the leader in the Talladega 500, coming out of pit row. CBS Sports live coverage of the Talladega 500 will continue after this word from your local station. We're back with you once again. Some 100,000 looking on at another great NASCAR Grand National Battle. This one at the Alabama International Motor Speedway at Talladega, Alabama. Ned Jarrett, I'm Ken Squire, trackside as you watch Richard Petty working alongside Harry Gant at this point. Cale Yarborough right in there in a battle for 2nd place by our lights. The leader overall in the event we have is Dale Earnhardt at the present time in car number 15. Now here's Harry Gant for the first time today in the Hal Needham car beginning to move around, and here is a picture of Richard Petty. Nicely taken for you as the battle continues a little further back in the field. Cale Yarborough's car right there with Richard gets a bit of an advantage. There are your leaders, 1st and 2nd, Earnhardt and Jeff Bodine. My, what a day Bodine is having.
He really is, Ken, considering the fact that he ran out of gas early in the race, got a lap down, very alertly made it up when the caution was coming out, and has been running right with the leaders ever since.
Joe Ruttman comes out very slowly on the pit road down into turn number 1. He, like Baker earlier, limping. He's trying to pull up on the bank, sort of clawing his way up, having some problems in turn 1. Ruttman was running well up in front for a while. The leaders down the back straightaway, Earnhardt, Bodine. As much a story as the race continues to be the weather. Have a big buildup of clouds that look a little formidable off the back straightaway here. This race has never been short-ended by weather. We are now at 108 laps. Dale Earnhardt, the leader. Jeff Bodine in 2nd. 1980 Grand National Champion.
Here are 2 drivers, Ken, that got experience taking the hard knocks, so to speak, on the short tracks around the country. Jeff Bodine, growing up in a racing atmosphere. His dad ran a racetrack in New York, and so he was around them all of his life. Big winner in modified sportsman-type competition. Earnhardt, winner in late model sportsman dirt track racing. And they really paid their dues. They deserve everything that they're getting in the sport today.
Dale Earnhardt seeking his 9th career win here today. And that car seems to really be tickled by this track. It just seems to settle in and look so comfortable out there. That's part of the problem with this track that you pointed out earlier. The minute you begin to feel comfortable here, it can turn around and bite you.
It certainly can. You have to always be concentrating 100%. You can never let your thoughts go away just for a second because it could mean disaster for you.
Let's go back a little. In the third position now, it is Cale Yarborough with fourth, the Richard Petty car. Going fifth is the Neil Bonnet car. In this flock of automobiles that are running, that's the tail end of that group. Into the back straightaway. Back with the leaders. Earnhardt, Bodine, and they seem to be building up a bit of an advantage. They have now, what, 2.5, 3 seconds?
Yes, they do have, and I suspect that that's sort of a planned situation as far as Bodine is concerned. He seems to be content running there on the back bumper of Dale Earnhardt. It's working well for them. They're able to gain a little bit on those drivers who are running back there in the third, fourth, fifth, and sixth position. They'd like to pull away if they possibly could, and the only way they can do that is to work together, not race with each other out there side by side, because when one car pulls down, as we're seeing right there, it slows them all down.
Let's go back to the trenches. Here's a report from Mike Joy.
Buddy Parrott, that 3,700-pound car gets real heavy when you have to push it the whole length of pit road. What happened? Well, not only do we have a fast pit crew changing tires, I think we could win the 100-yard dash. No, you know, when you get behind, we had a vibration in the transmission, and it vibrated a bolt off or something in the shifter. So we're having to start in high gear, and Joe was going to pit in front of Bobby, and Bobby kind of got up behind him. Instead of darting down pit road, he went on around and ran out of gas right here on the front straightaway. So, you know, it's just starting our day. Just hopefully we can hang on and finish up so we can have a race car at the end of the race. Joe's doing a good job. The car really runs strong. When it's running, we got a super motor in the car, and it's the team effort's still going good.
You've got a computer here in your pit, so you don't know when you're going to be out of gas or not. There's no fuel gauges in these cars.
We can't blame it on the computer because my computer operator just came up to me 5 laps prior and said, "You're going to run out of gas." So I didn't believe him, but I'll tell you one thing. I'm going to believe in the computer from now on. I'm going to pit when he tells me to pit.
Let's go to Larry Newber.
Mike, we commented earlier that Bobby Allison was running on the ragged edge, and things are so bad, they're thinking about taking some drastic measures to change the chassis and the feel of the race car. There's a heavy coil spring down in the ground, and here are a couple of shock absorbers that may be destined to go on the front end. That'll take 2 or 3 minutes altogether and probably 3 individual pit stops. Not something you do under the green flag. That's the reason why during the last pit stop under the green flag, they made no chassis adjustment. They're hoping for a yellow. They'll come in 3 times and maybe make the changes that they need. Ken Squire?
There are the leaders. There's Earnhardt in front. Bodine is in second. Cale Yarborough is third. And right there in fourth is Richard Petty. What is his strategy in this race?
You know, you got to be around at the end of the race in order to win the thing. And a lot of times these boys that we're talking about, the veterans, will run up front and sort of feel things out, and then they'll back up in the pack and run there for the rest of the race and, you know, not really show their true colors till the end of the race. So especially running a racetrack like this.
Behind Richard Petty in fourth is Neil Bonnet in fifth, and then in sixth, it is the car of Darrell Waltrip with 7-spot Bill Elliott. We are now at 114 laps complete. 114 down, 74 to go.
Ken, not long ago, those front 2 cars of Dale Earnhardt and Jeff Bodine were running about almost 3 seconds ahead of that pack behind them. But now with Cale Yarborough moving up to third place, he's proven he's one of the fastest cars here today. They're closing in.
1 6/10 seconds net between the second place car, 88 Bodine, and number 28 right there, Cale Yarborough, who, as we saw at Michigan, you never can count out of these things. He just keeps coming back. And there in fourth is the great Richard Petty.
You can hear Cale as he goes into the turns and his, well, I guess the vibration of his voice.
The sound of a Martian? No, the sound of Cale Yarborough going through the first and second turns of the fastest racetrack in the world, the Alabama International Motor Speedway. From 3 seconds down, Cale Yarborough has gone up to 3 car lengths down to the 2 leaders, Dale Earnhardt and Jeff Bodine, here in our live CBS coverage of the Talladega 500. The 15th annual, coming down to another typical Talladega finish. The Thus far, we've had 29 lead changes among 8 drivers. And here you see Yarborough under rather foreboding skies closing on those leaders. Now, there are the cars in the front position. Waltrip, and in second, Bouchard in third, Bonnet, Gant, Ricky Rudd still very much up in the hunt. This was after 100 laps. Going back to the 9th position was Bobby Allison, then with David Pearson in 10th, followed by Elliott, Earnhardt, Bodine. That pretty much was the lead lap, and there was the rest of the field. That was at 100 laps. Cars still running in the race. We've had 15 cars retire. Battle for the lead. And it is a tough one as Yarborough begins to make his move. And Earnhardt does not want to relinquish. Back again goes Earnhardt on the outside. What a battle for the lead. Here they come down toward the tri-oval in front of the pit area. That is the battle for second, and Earnhardt is going to go for first. Bodine is pulled into first. Earnhardt is in second. Cale Yarborough in third. Meanwhile, let's take a look at Bill Elliott's windshield. He's running back in the 7th position. Doesn't look good, Ned.
And a moment ago, we saw a crack in the right hand side of it, but now you can see there are 2 cracks on the right side. That's the one we saw earlier, but now there are 4 cracks on the left side. That could become a problem for Bill Elliott.
Meanwhile, the battle stays up front. A quick report in the pits. Here's Larry Newber. Let's go to Mike Joy at this time.
Ernie Elliott, that crack in the windshield from our CBS race cam in your brother's car, it looks to be getting larger. What's the story there?
Well, we just had a report. I've sent a guy down there now to monitor it and see how bad the crack is. And we're just going to we've already made the preparations to change the windshield, so right now we're just going to monitor the situation on your camera, and if it gets any worse, if it gets to the point that we feel like it's unsafe, then we'll go ahead and change it. But right now, we're just going to try to wait on a caution to make a change.
How long should it take you to change it if you need to?
Oh, under a caution, we can change it, easily without losing a lap. It usually takes about a minute and a half to change the windshield.
Let's get on to Larry Newber.
Mike, the best time to talk to the crew chief of a Grand National stock car is when its car is leading, right there, O'Brien?
Well, that's a better time to talk to him, and right now we are leading, I think, and we're just biding our time. We got a lap down, but we beat them back on the yellow flag, and now we're back in contention, so everyone in the pits is happy.
Darrell, did you have any conversation with Jeff Bodine following that race back to the stripe?
Well, I seen what happened going in one, and I started hollering to him to try to beat them back in any way possible. That's the only way you can do it on a track like this, because the cars are so equal that one car just can't run off and leave one, so you have to draft by them, and that's where you get your laps back. You're right there.
Jeff Bodine has just lost the lead to Richard Petty.
Well, we're still in contention.
We're still in contention. They're side by side. Good racing up top, Ken and Ned.
Richard Petty has taken the lead. Now he's losing it again to Jeff Bodine. Petty, for the first time, showing the authority of car number 43. And he and Bodine are going at it wheel and right behind him is Neil Bonnet.
And Ken, we've talked about the Fords being 3 up front. Now we have 3 Pontiacs that are running first, second, and third.
Those Pontiacs had to fight their way into this. The Buicks and the Pontiacs have been, and now they're 3 wide. Look at Earnhardt on the inside. Bodine in the middle. Now up on the outside. Petty takes the lead, and Neil Bonnet comes with him. There is Darrell Waltrip and then Cale Yarborough in that group.
One thing that Dale Earnhardt does not lack, and that is nerve. When he wants to make a move, he sees a hole, he goes for it.
Yarborough in 6th, going for 5th. Right in front of him, number 11, Darrell Waltrip, the defending national champion, defending winner of the Talladega 500. 200 miles an hour down into turn number 3. Yarborough puts it right up on the side of the barn. There is Kathy Bodine looking on. Keeping track of the time on car number 88, which now finds itself fighting off Darrell Waltrip.
You can see her sort of urging him on, Ken, as he can't find her position.
He's 4th. Bonnet making a move for the lead. There is Petty in 3rd, Bodine in 4th, and Bonnet just squeezed down to the inside. Moved that steering wheel just a tickle as he went after car number 15, Earnhardt, and then decided to slip in and drafted him down the back straightaway. Now here's the place to pass. Going into 3. Willie takes a shot. It's been a quick draw finish time after time, and it looks like another high noon shootout is on its way at Talladega, Alabama. Canadian Open later this afternoon here on CBS. Earnhardt in front, Bonnet in 2nd, and the Giant, Richard Petty in 3rd.
Bonnet, of course, is not in his regular car. He had an accident on the second lap of this race when the engine blew in his regular car, number 75. This is the car that Tim Richmond qualified and started the race in. Of course, we saw Tim had a problem with his eye, got something in it. Bonnet has been in the car ever since and has never sat down in that race car before, but has been a contender all afternoon. And that's the mark of real professionalism.
Two-thirds of the race gone. We're 126 laps in, 62 laps to go, and Neil Bonnet is going for first place. Bonnet goes in front. Petty drops into second. Earnhardt falls to third. Bodine is in fourth. Working back there, Cale Yarborough. He's made up a lap, fought his way back into it. Right now, the fifth position is still at Darrell Waltrip, car number 11. Whatever was dragging on the car, creating a slow situation, that's gone away. Back there in sixth, it is Yarborough, and in seventh, as they sweep across the line, is Harry Gant, with the eighth position belonging to Bill Elliott.
Petty has been able to maintain almost for a lap, staying down on the inside. The others running in a straight line by themselves, but he's able to stay right up there and in contention inside of Dale Earnhardt.
Here comes Waltrip. Look at Waltrip just mow them down now. Darrell Waltrip, for the first time, is letting car number 11 loose. Waltrip squeezes into third spot, puts Petty back to fourth. Petty trying for his 197th win. Wild racing up with the banking for a moment. There's Petty back under Yarborough. He's right up there beside Jeff Bodine as they come back into the tri-oval. You can see the cars wander a little. They're better than 195 miles an hour right there. Bonnet in first, Earnhardt in second. Richard Petty is attacking again on Darrell Waltrip, seeking his 198th win. Petty in fourth. Let's get a report from his pits.
Richard Petty scored his 197th career win right here in May. Larry Pollard, we've not seen Richard at the front of the pack all day. All of a sudden, here he is. Was the car not right at the start of the race, or has he been biding his time?
Well, it was probably pretty close, but the problem was, Mike, all week long we've had trouble running up front with the Monte Carlo stuff. I think now we've got the car dialed into where we want, and he wants to see if it's comfortable and see if he can run up front at the end. So he wanted to go into the lead for a bit if he could, and then wait for the end now. So we'll ride it out from here on.
So there's a chance now that he's been up front, he may fall back a bit and kind of hold his horses?
Sure, yeah, we're going to just probably conserve now and see what the end brings, now that we know that we can run up front.
Let's go to Larry Nuber with Bud Moore.
Bud Moore, Dale Earnhardt's crew chief. You're running up front. Are you exactly where you want to be at this point in the race, Bud?
Well, yes, we need to stay up there so we can run cool and stay out front as much as possible. We're fixing to make a pit stop now. We'll have one more stop after this, and we hope everything goes well.
I noticed you dispatched a crew member down to the Jeff Bodine area to coordinate stops with them.
Well, we're going to stop at the same time, so that's the way we're working it right now, so we don't get left out there by ourselves.
Bud Moore ready to go back to work over the pit wall.
Bodine slightly overshot it in car number 88. He's coming back on the track. Leaders are coming down.
And Ken, they chose to change left side tires on his car. We'll see what the others do when we come back.
Time to go back on pit road. Next to last in the Talladega 500 for 83. We're back with you live at Talladega, Alabama. Next Sunday, it's a dandy here on CBS. A battle of two super featherweights. Undefeated, Hector Macho Camacho takes on Rafael Bazooka Limon in a 12-round loud bout. And the Cowboys are at it. Steer wrestling, calf roping, bull riding at the Calgary Stampede. Next weekend, CBS Sports Sunday, beginning at 4 Eastern. Here in the Talladega 500, 132 of the 188 laps have been completed. Darrell Waltrip is in front. Neil Bonnet driving the 27 is in second. We've just had our 16th retiree from the race.
And that was David Pearson, Spartanburg, South Carolina, having some sort of mechanical problems with his car. Of course, David, the second highest winner on all Grand National races, only second to Richard Petty.
And he's never won this race. He's come in second. He's down in the pole. But again, the Talladega 500 eludes the Silver Fox. There's your leader, Waltrip.
Ken, when we went away for the commercial break, Dale Earnhardt was out front, but he has since made a pit stop. He made a very good pit stop. He's running about 6 seconds in front of the leader, not that much being a lap down. Those cars that we're seeing on the screen will be coming in before long. Dick Brooks is in the pits right now getting his service.
So pit stops are again the order of the race. We have 12 cars running in the lead lap. 12 automobiles now in the lead lap as the race begins to drain. And out in front remains Waltrip at this moment. He's been there for 3 laps. Darrell Waltrip in front. Neil Bonnet, who picked up a ride after after Tim Richmond had something in his eye. Here is Cale Yarborough coming in, and here comes number 7 back in another time. Kyle Petty locking up the brakes. He slides to a stop. Here's Mike Joy.
Richard Petty brings his Pontiac onto pit road for routine service. You see a hole developing in the windshield right in front of Petty's field of vision as they service the left side tires. Car still up on the jack as they dump in the second can of gasoline. It'll be a routine pit stop for Richard. Down to Larry Newberg.
Anything but a routine pit stop for the Kyle Petty, Mike Beam crew chief crew, as Kyle Petty, who has been fighting the flu for the last just about 70 or 80 laps, has gotten out of the car. Terry Labonte has gotten in. Terry Labonte has got his own helmet on. That was a concern earlier. The radio hookup just didn't match, and they had to jury-rig the helmet. Now the steering wheel has been removed. They're adjusting the length of all the devices inside the race car, because as we reported to you earlier, Kyle is significantly taller than Terry Labonte. But Terry Labonte jumps into the number 7 car of Kyle Petty and rejoins the fray.
Ken, we speculated earlier that they might not make that change under the green flag. They didn't want to, as we see Kyle Petty there now, getting a little oxygen, something to drink. But I guess they had no choice but to make that stop, a costly one, because it took extra time during this green flag pit stop.
Remember, the cockpit temperature stays 135, 140 degrees in these cars. And if you don't feel well to start, you sure won't feel well when it's over.
Here's Darrell Waltrip, who was leading. He's coming into the pit. Scheduled stop for him, and most of them have been making left side tire changes. The last time they stopped, they made right side tire changes. And on this high-bank racetrack, there's almost as much pressure on the left side as there is on the right side.
I was just thinking about what I said about not feeling well when you start. You won't feel well when it's over. Harry Gant one time told me, let's go to Mike Joy.
Junior Johnson keeps the car out well away from the pit wall. He had that board almost in the middle of pit road. That's a sure sign of a left side tire stop. Doug Richard hits the wrench on the front wheel. Gas, waiting for Henry Benfield to drop that second can in. And there goes Waltrip.
Harry Gant one time told me that the best way to cure a cold is to go out and run in a race car for a couple of hours. There's Kyle Petty. Didn't work for Kyle Petty.
Well, I have known race cars to be good medicine. I have gone into a race with a flu or a bad cold or something like that, but and come out of the race feeling good.
Now there he sees a windshield in Bill Elliott's car, and now he's taken a hit as well down below. You see a bullet hole there on the bottom side as he took some piece of small debris. That windshield begins to look real serious. They've taped up some of it. Question is, will it stay? He's staying right up in the lead lap at the present time.
Yes, he is. And one of his crew members is looking at one of our CBS monitors just to see how bad it is, because with them zipping around out there at almost 200 miles an hour, they can't tell how bad that windshield is. So they have him down there taking a look at it, hoping for a caution that they might be able to change it during the caution. And here we have a battle between Jeff Bodine and Neil Bonnet.
The 27 car Bonnet is being shown as the leader. They are now in the process of making pit stops. They have reported car number 3 in second place, which would be erroneous because Ricky Rudd has just pulled in as well. I believe the majority of the leaders have all come on pit road, and we'll bring you back up to date as who the top ones are. 12 cars running in the lead lap with 138 laps complete. Neil Bonnet reported up in front. Unofficially, they're saying Bobby Allison in second.
Bobby has yet to make his pit stop. He's been running a few laps longer than any of the other cars.
5 the last time.
Yes, he did. He gets exceptionally good gas mileage on that car. Robert Yates, the engine builder on it, knows how to set it up, knows how to adjust that carburetor so he gets that good mileage.
All right, we're getting down toward the finish. 138 laps are now complete in the Talladega 500. The finish coming up shortly. We're back with you live at Talladega, Alabama for the 15th annual Talladega 500. Leader is now coming back on the track. He's just been in for fuel. That's Neil Bonnet driving the Tim Richmond 27. The leader is now number 22, Bobby Allison. Second place has been a war. Richard Petty is in third, and dropping off the pace is car number 28. The Cale Yarborough car, which is right there a moment ago, something seems to be amiss on car number 28.
In fact,
he is back on pit road.
Unscheduled pit stop for Cale Yarborough.
He's gone.
going into the garage area. Cale Yarborough, who really put up a valiant effort here today, Ken, coming from a lap down 2 different times and has led this race quite often, but now it looks like it's going to be all for him today.
Cracked windshield, as you see, beginning to develop, but you can see as the car staggers in that there's a lot more than windshield problems. Here's a report from Mike Joy coming up as we see Cale Yarborough going back into the garage area. And let's go to Mike Joy.
Neil Bonnet just made a good pit stop. Tim Richmond, you're a heck of a cheerleader.
Well, I'm a cheerleader. We handed him some water and took one of the tires, and he did an excellent job coming in the pits, an excellent job going out, and the Blue Max Old Milwaukee crew did a good job getting him out. The reason we left him out so long and took a chance, that just means a lot less fuel we have to put in when he comes back in for the last stop.
Looks like you're going to watch this one from the sidelines.
Well, whatever Tim Brewer wants. You know, he's the boss. If it costs us something, I'm not going to get in the car. If it don't cost anything, I'll probably get back in, but the way it looks, I'm not. I'm going to stay out here.
Back upstairs.
I don't like it here.
There's a guy that really likes racing. I mean, really likes racing. Tim Richmond, who's on the sidelines. There's the leader now. Bobby Allison in the number 22 has taken over in first place, and he has a pretty healthy lead right now. They're showing car number 27 is backed up into second spot after his quick pit stop net.
Well, he has
that second group.
Bobby Allison has a good healthy lead as a result of not having made his pit stop yet.
That's third place, number 15 Earnhardt, and they're reporting Richard Petty is in the fourth place, number 43, with the fifth spot going to Bill Elliott in car number 9. As to the circumstances around Bouchard, I question if he's going to lap down. We'll see in a moment. Waiting for a report from Cale Yarborough's story. Boy, what a heartbreaker for him. Getting a word from him shortly. Cale really gave it a valiant effort today. As Ned Jarrett pointed out, he had to do some making up to do, and he made it up. He came from a lap back and fought his way into the lead. Bobby Allison, who had a dismal qualifying day, didn't make it the first day at all, came back the second day, and then was relegated to 24th position. He's trying to tie Cale Yarborough for the all-time overall win list. He has 76 overall wins. Yarborough has 77. There you see number 27 sneaking alongside Richard Petty. That is Neil Bonnet driving the Richmond car. They are showing Bouchard a lap down. And there is Bill Elliott's car still hanging tough in 5th position.
It looks like that windshield we can see on the left front is not getting any worse for it yet. Here's Bobby Allison in the pit.
Car number 22, Bobby Allison.
A scheduled stop for him. They're changing left side tires on his car, as they did on most of the other front runners during this scheduled pit stop. Now, they got about 40-some-odd laps to go, Ken. They won't be able to go the rest of the distance here. They'll have to make at least one more pit stop for gasoline.
He came into today's race with over a 200-point advantage over second place Darrell Waltrip. That battle is expected to continue to stay hot all the way down to the finish.
Well, Bobby Allison went 2 laps longer than did Neil Bonnet. Allison went 39 laps on this run, where Neil Bonnet went 37. Richard Petty was the next closest at 34 laps.
Bobby Allison, who leads in the NASCAR Grand National standings by 202 points over Darrell Waltrip, is back on the track as we move down in the Talladega 500 to the last pit stop. One more to go for fuel. CBS Sports live coverage of the Talladega 500 will continue after this word from your local station. Cracks continue to strain across the windshield of car number 47. The car of Ron Bouchard, and a consultation flag has just been given to him. Here's a quick report from Larry Newber with Cale Yarborough.
Cale Yarborough, it's become traditional on these CBS races. We talk to you at the beginning because you're usually up front. We talk to you at the end of the race. Well, it's not quite the end of the race this time.
Well, no, I guess we spun the bearings or something. I smelled a funny smell last couple laps. And I was hoping it was somebody else, but it was me. But the car ran real well while we was running. These things just happened.
Cal, it's very warm, at least up and down pit road today. How was it in the cockpit?
Well, it's pretty warm, but it's a little bit overcast. It could have been a whole lot worse, but we could have made it.
Since the crash on lap number 2, the race has been relatively incident-free. Track appears to be in good condition from down here. Is it also that way in the car?
Yeah, the track's in good condition. It's a little bit slick, but the race was going super good. There's still a lot of strong cars in the race, but we were very strong. When we wanted to go this run, I felt like I could go, but I know you got to be around at the end to win, and I was just trying to be around, but we won't be here today.
Cal, quickly, you've been with the leaders most of the day. Who looks strong to you?
I think Earnhardt looks the strongest right now. He's running awful good. If he goes all day, he'll be hard to beat.
Dale Earnhardt, that's Cal Yarborough's pick.
And currently, Earnhardt is third. There's your leader, Bonnet again. The Pontiac of Richard Petty now running second. The Ford of Earnhardt is back to third spot. Waltrip is in fourth. Lap car in there for a moment. He's dropped back to lap car. The fifth spot is Bill Elliott in the number 9. There's Elliott looking out over the front 4. Windshield badly beaten up, but he's still very much in it, and he doesn't want to stop whatever he does under green. Heavy, heavy clouds off 1 and 2. Beginning to look very ominous there off the first and second turn. That could be the factor that decides this race. That's why there's such a charge up in front, and right now, Richard Petty carries the day into the first turn. Bonnet almost in the side of Earnhardt.
He got very close, Ken. In fact, I believe they did rub fenders, but that's not going to let him stop him from coming back up there again.
Now, if it should rain, we are better than halfway. I'm sure they would put them under a red flag, bring all the cars down. They're not allowed to work on them. The drivers would get their only respite that they can get in an event. Put it on a red flag, or they could stop the race right there. It depends upon how serious and how severe the shower conditions are. Here's Mike Joy.
They have replaced the windshield in Ron Bouchard's car, the one they just put in. It looks like they may have cracked it getting it in the car on the right side. He doesn't have to look through that side of the windshield, so perhaps they can live with this one. They're taping it up in place of the molding that's usually on there to make sure it stays in place. There are also retainer clips. They're fueling the car while it's in here to take advantage of the pit stop, and then they'll send the 1981 winner of this race back out.
The man with the headset on there was Mr. Beatty from Connecticut, who owns that car, the school bus business. It's some school bus. Here's Petty in front. Earnhardt coming to second. Earnhardt coming to the lead, and Bonnet comes with him. Gives you some idea of the speed, Ned, as they thrust those cars onto the bottom of turn number 3.
Actually, Earnhardt just sucked Neil Bonnet right past Richard Petty. There wasn't anything Petty could do about it. Just look over and wave and say, I'll try to get you back in a little bit.
Franklin, Tennessee's Darrell Waltrip lying fourth. And if you want to talk about speed, take a look at this. That third-place car remains Petty. The fourth-place car, that is Walter. Deployed in fifth is Bill Elliott. Then in the sixth position is car number 3, and he's dropped back, and coming up is 33, Harry Gant. Gant is up in the sixth position this time. There's the back end of that lead pack. We still have 10 cars in the lead lap, even though they're pitting under caution. Remember, 1 second on pit road, 300 feet on the track. It tells you just a little bit about the excellence of these teams when they make pit stops. They really keep the field together.
They certainly do. The fact that they've made 3 green flag pit stops now since they've had a caution is remarkable that they're still running this close together.
Elliott lies fifth. Laps, 153 laps are now complete. There are 35 to go. Can Earnhardt hold on and win it? Will Bonnet take it in a borrowed car? Can Richard Petty win number 198 in his quest for 200 Grand National wins? Or will this man, Bill Elliott, with our second CBS onboard camera, be the 5th different driver to win his first Grand National race at this awesome 2.6-mile racing facility? And now 154 complete. Petty going to the outside. And all of those drivers have been told on the radio that there is weather building up off the first and second turn, and to get with the program right now. There you see Gant. He's come into sixth position in the Haldane and Burt Reynolds car, and that one's beginning to roll. Gant has pulled up. He's been way on the back end of the tail lap, and now he's up into sixth. And Ned, this looks like it could be the most dramatic finish we've ever had at Talladega.
It could be. All of those cars seem so very evenly matched. We've seen them switch positions back and forth, but no one has had any distinct advantage all afternoon.
Benny Parsons has retired. Benny Parsons, who has never won this race, his car number 55 at lap 153 has gone back behind the wall, and they have just announced that Parsons will not come back out. That is the 18th retiree. Pearson, Yarborough, Parsons, right in a row. The 16th, 17th, and 18th drivers to come out of this race. All the superpowers of racing. See their problems here. Racing against time and against those clouds that you see off the first and second turn.
And you can bet your bottom dollar that they see those as they go into the turn, Ken. They know that there's a possibility that a shower could come, so they want to be right up front, ready to make the move in case that caution should come out.
Well, that's at least a trash bloater, and it could be a hog swallower over there off the first and second turn, Ned. Here is 15, Earnhardt, determined to hold on to the lead. Bonnet just as determined to give Tim Richmond something to cheer about today and take that car number 27 to victory lane for the second straight week. Remarkable win a week ago in Pocono, Pennsylvania for Tim Richmond in this car. Again, as we pointed out to you, Tim Richmond had an eye injury early in the race, and his relief has been Neil Bonnet, who was in a crash on the very top of the race. In the second lap, we had 6 cars eliminated when Neil Bonnet lost an engine. Cars took evasive action, struck the wall inside, outside each other. It took Grant Adcox out of the race and several others.
I think Bill Elliott here could be a sleeper for us today. He's been right there, running in the top 5 most of the day, biding his time, looking at those cracks on his windshield, but they don't seem to be getting much worse for him right now. And he might be just sitting there waiting, have a little bit left. He's sort of a sly character, you know. He's learned a lot in his relatively few years in this business.
This is his 7th year here in the Talladega 500 for Bill Elliott. Again, he's never won, but he's there, and he works just outside. Remember, he set outside pole, and the outside pole position has won this race 5 times. Every other driver has come from a different position. No one has come from one position more than once. We'll be back with more on that Talladega 500 in a moment.
The Wall Street Journal is written for busy people. Doesn't waste your time with what you don't want to know.
28 and a half laps remain in the 15th annual $373,000 Talladega 500. And we see Earnhardt in first, Bonnet in second. Going in third, it is Darrell Waltrip. There's the rookie battle, and right now Sterling Marlin has been running in 17th, has just pitted and come back out net.
And now Bobby Hillin Jr. is the top running rookie. He's running in 13th position. So a good battle there between the rookie drivers. And, you know, being in the top 20 in this field is certainly not something to be sneezed at.
Midland, Texas youngster having a very good day here. Bobby Hillin and Sterling Marlin, still those rookies out here fighting for the honors of being the #1 freshman. For being #1 at Talladega, where no man has ever won it twice except that man, number 11, Darrell Waltrip. It is Earnhardt in front, Bonnet in second. And there is Bill Elliott putting the move on Richard Petty to take over 4th position. Bill Elliott, as the time runs out and the clouds continue to build up, the thunderheads off the first and second turn. Petty goes back by him. Petty wants no part of that. There are your leaders. Earnhardt first, Bonnet second, going third. Waltrip, 4th is Petty. In 5th, Bill Elliott. 9 cars currently in the lead lap. The 9th car is Bobby Allison, and he is about 2/3 of a lap down to the 8 cars running in this lead draft.
And we see Dick Brooks down on the inside of the screen, currently running at about 5th position there. Of course, he's at least 1 lap down, but he's right up to speed with the rest of the leaders, dancing right in there with them. And some of the cars have been using him as a drafting piece to try to move farther up.
Well, it will be liquid of one substance or another that will decide this race. There will be one more fuel stop, and there could be one serious rain stop. 8 cars running in the lead bundle. Here they come for 163, and the leader is in. Earnhardt elects to gamble. He comes in. Here's Larry Newman.
Dale Earnhardt, one of those who has never won this race, this so very competitive race. Immediate attention to the right side or the starboard side of the race car. Remember, we've got less than 30 laps to go in this race. They don't have to fill the tank up all the way. No attention whatsoever to the left-hand side. Right tires only, and maybe about 3/4 of a tank of fuel. We'll see.
Super pit stop, 12 and 4/10 seconds, the time that he was actually stopped. He made a good approach to the pit. He came in quick. He's getting out quick. That was a very good pit stop for Dale Earnhardt.
Bonnet in first. In second is Waltrip. Here is Elliott trying to go underneath Petty again. It has been at the last pit stop where Elliott seems to have had his problem. There is Gant. The Bandit comes onto pit road. Here again on the Taylorsville, North Carolina, Travis Carter crew ready for car number 33. Key player late in the going. Something amiss.
He either overshot his pits, I believe he did. He overshot his pits. Now he's going to have to back up. You talk about a costly pit stop.
That is going to cost him any chance. Unless there is a caution. They're rolling him back behind Bobby Allison. Now they're bringing him back in. Bad break for Gant.
Very tough break. I don't know if he just had a mental lapse and went by, or if something was wrong with the car that wouldn't let him
seem to lock up.
No, it didn't. So, but of course, Bobby Allison was right there when he came into the pit, so it might have blocked his view as to where his pit was.
Exactly.
You see that time running away.
It's so easy to get mesmerized in this track at 200 miles an hour. Every driver talks about it. You may have seen it there. 27 in front. Bonnet first. Walker second. Petty third.
Again, we saw Bobby Allison in the pit. He's still there. They changed the windshield on his car and needs to work on it.
Lap down, Allison. Allison goes a lap down. Bad break for Bobby. Bobby Allison seeking that 77th win. He's staying in the point battle, but not up here to be a winner in this one. Here's the man that is, Bill Elliott, car number 9, and it is a tough time as the windshields begin to get clouded with the oil, the residue from the track. But the issue is, can Elliott's crew keep it gathered up, keep their cool, get him out, and keep him in this hunt for first place? There you see Bonnet first. In pursuit in second is Darrell Waltrip. Then comes Richard Petty and Bill Elliott. Elliott has never won a race, and there's a bit of a shattered windshield. That was Allison. I think some of that may have happened when they threw it over their left shoulder.
Yeah, I don't think it was in that condition when it was in the car, but I'm sure it was pretty bad or they wouldn't have taken it out.
We haven't been keeping up with speeds in this race because of that very long caution. The average is up to 167 miles an hour. The average for this race is 174 miles per hour by Lenny Pond in 78 in his near car. And the overall average, of course, is Buddy Baker at 177 miles per hour is the record for 500 miles at Daytona. Right now, it's just a plain old shootout for the decision here.
Well, even though the average speed is down some, Ken, they are continuously turning lap speeds of 197, 198 miles an hour, even this late in the race.
Now Elliott is pitting. Fourth place car, Bill Elliott is on pit road, and what has been pit blocking up a break. Ricky Wright moves up. Let's go to Mike Joy.
They're servicing left side tires on Bill Elliott's car. You see the crack of the windshield as they wash it. It does not look to be too severe. It does not appear to be hampering his vision too much. They want to get every drop of gas in because the Fords don't get quite as good gas mileage as the GM car. He's away.
Petty moving out in front of Bill Elliott as they come back on the track. That's their last stop. 167 laps are complete. 21 to go. When will these two come in? Should be within the next lap. Number 11, Waltrip first. 27, Bonnet in second. Ricky Rudd moves up to third.
But remember, the last time, Neil Bonnet went longer than anyone else except Bobby Allison. Of course, Bobby Allison has already been in because of his windshield problem. So Bonnet should have another 5 or 6 laps before he would have to come in.
Down by Bobby Allison. Allison 2 down after his lengthy stay. 18 cars have retired. The last of the pit stops taking place as they try to gather up the field to come down for it. The sky continues to get grayer. Turn 1 and 2 area. Waltrip staying in front. Darrell Waltrip had a t-shirt on. They used to advertise this race as 13 races, 13 faces. He had a t-shirt he wore earlier this week that said 14 races, 13 faces. I'm sorry about that.
I'm sure that he'd like to add his name again there.
Buddy Arrington getting lapped out of turn 2. Well, the junior Johnson, there's Kyle Petty back in again, and of course we have a different driver, Terry Labonte, now in the car. Terry Labonte has taken over for a very ill Kyle Petty. Started the race with a fever, and the race didn't cure it.
Bonnet, who was very aggressive in the early part, still, of course, running very hard, but seems to be content running their own Darrell Waltrip bumper at this point.
And you must remember that Bonnet was involved in a 190-mile-an-hour 6-car crash at the very beginning. His engine blew. He spun across the track. 5 other cars were eliminated. He casually stepped away from the machine, walked down pit road, and when Tim Richmond was in trouble, went right back to the ward. No problem at all for him. Now, there's Mark Martin running right behind Tim Richmond. He's gone a lap down.
And here's Bill Elliott back in the pit. This is an unscheduled pit stop for Bill Elliott.
Mike Joy.
An unscheduled stop, this one, Ned. They were just in for right side tires. They found they had to put left ones on. He'll almost go a lap down, and this could put him out of contention.
Bad break for Elliott. Still seeking that first win. Here come the leaders charging down out of the fourth turn as Elliott comes back on the track directly here in front of us at the start-finish line. And here come your leaders through the trioval. They are headed for the start line. Elliott apparently is not going to lose a lap here. He's able to get in and get out.
Of course, they would be a lap down to Darrell Waltrip and Neil Bonnet, who have not stopped.
Have not come in. They are pretty much in a lap unto themselves now. Ricky Rudd is shown in third. Petty is in fourth. Calling Elliott fifth. Question that for just a moment and see. Bad break for Gann has put him back. Probably is right. Darrell Waltrip. There you see the laps he has led. No one leads for very long. Only once was this race dominated. That was back in 1970 when Pete Hamilton just about ran away. And now Waltrip is preparing to pit. Leader is coming in. We have a smoker going down into turn number 1, which might bring out a caution. Let's see what will happen here. Car 17.
Sterling Marlin.
That's the rookie, but there is no caution appearing on the track. Here's Mike Joy.
Darrell Waltrip is in for what he hopes will be his last pit stop. They're going to the right side of the car, looking at the tires. They're not going to change them. They're just adding fuel. They get the last drop in and send him on his way.
Different piece of strategy there, Ken. Only taking all the gasoline.
Junior Johnson going to the big gamble. There's 172 laps complete. There are 16 to go. No change of rubber.
Now, will this force the hand of Neil Bonnet and Tim Brewer and the crew on the car number 27? Will they just take on gasoline? He's got to stop before too long.
You would think they would have to, Ned. Just come in if they want a shot at that number 11.
Now, normally they can change tires as quickly as they can put in a full load of fuel, sometimes quicker. But here's Ricky Rudd, who had moved up into second place, coming in for his stop. We'll see what he does. But they did not take on a full load of fuel this time.
Less than half a tank.
Sure, that's all they need.
Mike Joy.
Jeff Hammond, you took the tires over the wall, but you didn't change them.
Well, we decided we'd take a real quick look at them. If they look like they go all the way, we're going to let him go. But if they look like they're a little close, we're going to change them. So we just be prepared to go both ways.
How much of a gamble is that?
Well, so far, with tire wear we've seen, we're going to be plenty safe. You know, we just want to really make them sure of it. But otherwise, we've been checking the tire engineers all day long and keeping up with what our tires have been doing on the other green flag stops, and we look like we're in good shape.
So Waltrip will race on used tires against the fresh ones of the other cars in the lead lap. Let's go to Larry Newberg.
Some interesting development here in the Neil Bonnet pit area. Tim Richmond, Tim Brewer, as well as the car owner, they've all gotten together. They're thinking about staying out as long as they possibly can. The wind has picked up significantly in the last 60 seconds. They think it's going to rain here at Talladega within about a minute and a half or maybe 2 minutes. They may stretch Bonnet as far as they possibly can because of the weather moving in.
He's ready to lap Mark Martin. There are 15 laps remaining. 15 to go. Waltrip has not won a super speedway race since Rockingham last fall.
He has 4 wins to his credit this year, but they have all been on short track.
The gamblers have all put their hands on the table. The question is who's going to call. We'll be back in a moment for the decision. With 12 laps to go, Neil Bonnet, that car just coming off pit road, pitted, and he had trouble getting started.
And there goes the leader, Ricky Rudd, in car number 3 is leading this race. Darrell Waltrip bearing down on him. He was only in the pit 6.5 seconds.
Waltrip takes the lead. Waltrip back in front, and Earnhardt is there, and we have 3 cars after all these pit stops gathered up for the lead. Now let me give you the leaders. We have 177 laps complete, 11 to go, Ned. The leader for the moment is Earnhardt. In second, it's about a dead heat. Earnhardt has the advantage slightly over Ricky Rudd in the number 11. Waltrip in the lead. Earnhardt in second by just a whisker over car number 3, Ricky Rudd in the 3rd position.
Well, Neil Bonnet has some catching up to do. He might have stretched it a little too long because they apparently ran out of gas. Once they got the fuel in, they had to push them off down pit road, cost them an extra 4 or 5 seconds. So he has a lot of catching up to do.
Leader, Waltrip. Here's Ricky Rudd back in it another time. Earnhardt showing a lap down. Car number 98 a little further back.
And there are only 10 laps to go.
Here's Larry Newber.
Tim Richmond standing by, watching Neil Bonnet, his relief driver. Tim, you guys cut it just a little too short on fuel.
Well, it was running and coming in, and right when he stopped, it threw the fuel away from the pickup, and it sputtered enough to where he couldn't leave the pits under all power, and it slowed us down, and we're behind right now, and there's only 10 laps to go. Let me see, here he comes. He's catching him right now, but Ricky Rudd looks like he just ran out of fuel, but I don't know. It's going to be tough, but, you know, the car's tough enough. We just have a little bit of luck and catch that draft and run him down. He'll get it.
Tim, you and Raymond were timing him very closely just before he pitted. Do you think he is faster than the other cars on the track when he's outside the draft?
When he was by himself, he was faster than Darrell was when Darrell and Bobby Allison was drafting. So, you know, the Milwaukee Pontiac's running good. It's just, you know, if we got enough time to get there, I don't know.
Well, Mike Joy is at the other end of the pit row. Another one of the stories we're watching is that of Ricky Rudd.
Ricky Rudd just slowed down. Richard Childress, what's the matter?
Something happened to the ignition, he said. It just cut off on him.
It's a heck of a thing for 10 laps to go.
That's right.
The top three, as we see Ricky Rudd slowly coming back in after that great effort he's performed today. Waltrip first, Earnhardt in second, and the third position right now is car number 27, Neil Bonnet, car that was started by Tim Richmond. In fourth, Richard Petty, and in fifth is Bodine, and Bodine is running a lap down, and he is in a real dogfight with Harry Gant. They're fighting for fifth position, 88 to 33.
Now, Ken, the car number 11, Darrell Waltrip, did not take on tires. Dale Earnhardt did, and yet he's right there with him. That's an indication that those new tires have helped him to run faster since he came back out there. Does he have a little bit left that he might be able to draft past Darrell Waltrip on that last lap as a result of being able to stick down on the inside of the track a little bit better? Time will tell.
Seventh place car is Richard Brooks. Eighth is Bill Elliott. Time running out, 181 laps completed. This 188 laps, $373,000 shootout. There you see Waltrip first.
And then you wonder how much of a part these cars that are a lap down. There's Bobby Allison running right there in the third position. However, he's at least 2 laps down. He's 11 minutes. Okay, but he could play a part in the role of the outcome of this race.
He sure could. And this is going to keep him up in that point battle. They're the two that look like they're going to decide it. As happened so many times, that last fuel top makes for great separation out here. We have the third place car, number 27, really looking up from under. He's a long way back as you see him come to the trioval. A good 3.5, 4 seconds at least. It doesn't look like he's going to be a factor.
I don't believe that he has enough time for him to make up that time, even though he might be running faster than any other car on the racetrack.
So where would you want to be right now? Leading or second place? Your call. Sitting at home. You want to be running up with Darrell Waltrip or sitting back there in that second place position at number 15, Earnhardt. And there's the man who's calling the shots. He wants his man, Darrell Waltrip, right up in front. The legendary Junior Johnson.
Hall of Fame member, winner of 50 Grand National races. Certainly has been a key figure in the sport of auto racing for many, many years.
I'm sure he wants him up on the point. I don't think he wants him out back. And also looking on is Bud Moore. Many times decorated in World War II. Great battle hero. The guy that has put together Ford cars that have raced and won countless times on every track on which the Grand National race.
Including here at Talladega. Buddy Baker won 3 races in a row in his cars back in the 76, 7, and 8, long in that period of time.
Turn 3. 2-car shootout to decide it today here in the Talladega 500. Down they come out of turn 4. Waltrip in front. Can he be the first man to ever win it back-to-back?
I think Earnhardt is sitting there biding his time right now. We heard Cale Yarborough say when he fell out of the race that he felt that Earnhardt had the strongest car. He saw how well that car was handling in the draft. However, Bobby Allison can still play a big role in who wins this race. Even though he's not in contention for the win himself, if he so chooses, he could be a factor in Dale Earnhardt moving around the Darrell Waltrip on the last lap.
4 seconds back from the leaders. Number 27, Neil Bonnet, and at least 5 Petty. That's the picture as we get down to it. The battle for 6 is 88 and 33. And that is Jeff Woodine and Harry Gant still at it a little further back in the field. But the whole story rests right on the point, right here. As Waltrip stays in front, Earnhardt keeps that Ford in second place. The Chevrolet Ford shootout at Talladega 483. 185 complete in this time.
Earnhardt has made no attempt to move around Darrell Waltrip. He's not about to give up his any advantage that he thinks that he has at this time. He's not going to tip his hand. There's Stevie Waltrip. That's Darrell's wife.
Looking on. She usually mans the scoreboard for them in the pits. And there is Dale Earnhardt's wife,
Teresa. She comes from a racing family. The Houstons from Hickory, North Carolina. Her dad, Hal Houston, who raced a number of years himself.
Of course, Tommy Houston.
Oh, Tommy Houston still races quite often. Of course, they've been very strong in sport auto racing for a number of years. Earnhardt content just to sit there and ride on Waltrip's bumper.
186 when they come by and 2 to go. Last 2 laps. Waltrip in first. Dale Earnhardt in second. Waltrip has won the national title the last 2 years. Earnhardt took the championship in 1980. Then things went bad for him. This year he seems to be having a little better luck at the midway point of the year. A great win at Nashville the other night with his car 15. Not this same car, their short car. Those big teams usually have as many as 3 cars. And now it's super speedway cars, all slicked up, aerodynamically just as perfect as they can make them. And it is the Junior Johnson car pulling away by 3 car lengths in turn 3.
But did Earnhardt let him do that? He might have dropped back so he could pick up that draft and see how he could pick back up on him very easily, and he did.
Only the front 2 have a crack at it. Those other cars are all a lap or more now. The white flag is out. This is it. The last lap at Talladega is the typical Talladega last lap. Waltrip in first. Earnhardt leans back by about 3 car lengths. The place to make the move would be in turn number 3. He comes out of 2 and squares it away.
I think he'll make the move as he goes into turn 3 right now. He's heading down the backstretch. He makes his move, moves around Darrell Waltrip, bringing Bobby Allison with him. That's what he was hoping he would do. Allison will have an effect on the outcome of this race.
So Allison pulls around. Now here comes Waltrip. He'll get 1 counter charge out of the tri-oval area. Waltrip will take 1 more shot. And here he comes. Allison dropping down, giving him room. He moves to the inside. There are lap cars there. Waltrip is coming up. They come up with a lap car, and the winner is Earnhardt.
Fantastic racing. You see the crew, Bud Moore and the crew very happy there.
They're the losers. And they're the winners. Dale Earnhardt has done it. He did it in style. A magnificent finish for Dale Earnhardt. He made his move properly. He brought Allison with him, and did you note that Allison moved down to give the second place man the fair chance of coming back? A lap car in the center. 1 drew the inside, 1 the outside, and they went for it.
They really went for it. Typical Talladega finish.
A quick report from Mike Joy.
Well, just as the checkered flag falls, so does the rain here at Talladega. But more, another typical Talladega finish. This one wouldn't be over until they dropped the flag right at the wire.
Well, yes, you know, it's a good win for us and a good win for Wrangler, and we rode Darrell. He drove such a heck of a good race, so I can't hardly talk about it, and we're really proud.
That's 2 wins in the last 3 races.
Yes, 2 wins in the last 3 races, and we're proud that the good Lord held the rain off long enough for the checker flag.
It's pouring right down now, right here. We're on the way to victory lane.
It's going to be a damp celebration, but an exuberant one for car number 15 and Dale Earnhardt's people. He led 11 times for 41 laps in that key lap, and let's look again at how he pulled it off. Take a look here, Ned, as they get car number 15 down and the crew celebrates a little. There he is in front. Allison got dragged through in the draft. I'm sure that Allison wanted to be up there.
Well, yes, he did. And, you know, Ken, it did not surprise me to see Bobby Allison make that move because he's in a tremendous battle for Darrell Waltrip for the point lead. If Waltrip wins the race, that's an extra 5 points. And here they come to the start-finish line as Waltrip moved on the inside, trying to move back around, using that car there as the draft, trying to pick up a little extra speed, but he just simply couldn't do it.
So we have another new face in victory lane today here at Talladega, Alabama, and it is Dale Earnhardt. What a remarkable finish for Earnhardt. And it looks as though things are going much better for Dale these days than they have for some time. Coming into this race, he was in 10th place in the standings. We'll be going to victory lane with Mike Joy in just a moment as they take Dale Earnhardt out of the car, and he's taking a deep breath and just thinking about the fact that he's there.
Well, he ran one of the smartest races that I've seen, as Bud Moore said. He ran a very, very good race. Sat there on the back bumper of Darrell Waltrip those last 7 or 8 laps, made his move when he needed to. Timing was absolutely perfect. What can you say? I mean, the man just did what he had to do.
He looks a little overwhelmed with the day and the effort.
Well, he does. Of course, he'll wipe that grease and grime and dirt.
Let's go to Mike Joy.
I've never seen anybody look so tired and yet so happy.
I'm not tired. that was a mental strain right there. It was a real tough race. I like to thank Wrangler and Bud Moore and the whole crew. They, did a super job with the car, and it ran real super. I'd like to say hi to the kids at home watching on TV. Thank Union, Winston, all the people involved with Goodyear Tires. Everybody did a super job. Darrell Waltrip was one tough customer today.
Was the toughest part sitting behind him for those last few laps or trying to pass him?
Well, he never had lead in it in front and all day long, and I didn't know how much he had or where he'd be his toughest. And luckily, I caught the draft just right and got by him. He tried to take us to the infield, but we got by him anyway. And I think I pulled up Bobby back by him, and that really helped us coming on through the tri-oval. And then the slow traffic in front of us, I drafted off him through the tri-oval, helped us get to it. But Darrell, he did his best. I wouldn't want to be in his position, I can tell you that.
Let's find out about his position from Larry Newber.
Well, the only man who has ever won this race twice, and I guess a career is only as good as the last race, Darrell. In the last race, you got second. I know you're disappointed.
Well, it was I felt like I had an awful good chance to win this race. I knew Dale was the guy there the last 2 laps that was going to have to beat, and had I not had interference, I believe I could have done it. But I want to thank the good Lord for a safe race and tell everybody in Franklin and up in Wilkesboro hello today. And I'm proud of how the car run. I thought the boys did a good job, and we almost won it.
Darrell, that is a tough call. There was a lot of traffic involved with you and Dale in the last lap. Would you have handled it differently had the roles been reversed? Had you been one of those lap cars?
I don't know. It's hard to say. You're going fast, and it all comes down to what happens right through here. And there was cars in the way, and Bobby was in the way. And like I said, I'm just thankful I run second. I didn't have any problems today, and I run second, and that's enough to be thankful for. And what goes around comes around, as they say.
And the super speedway program, it was struggling a little bit early on, but you guys have really caught on with the program, I'd say, in the big tracks now.
Well, it's really never been that bad. We just can't seem to find be in the right spot at the right time like we were maybe last year, but these second places add up. Watch out, we're coming again.
And Squire, they're looking at least Darrell Waltrip hopes the same type of late season drive they've had the last 2 years in a row when they were champs.
Come on, man. Well, indeed they are. The controversy continues to boil between Bobby Allison and Darrell Waltrip, as you heard from those comments there. We'll have more on this exciting finish at Talladega, Alabama in just a moment. The Canadian Open is next today here on CBS, that exciting final round from Oakville, Ontario. And we've certainly had an exciting final round here at Daytona, and controversy is again beginning to boil out of this finish as Dale Earnhardt came to the line. The battle that has been going on for the last 3 years between Bobby Allison and Darrell Waltrip, we got a little taste of it there at the finish as Bobby Allison's car came down the inside and drafted through to finish started to finish a position in front. I think he dropped back as he came out of turn number 4, but it broke up the opportunity for Dale Earnhardt, or for Waltrip, to make another shot at Dale Earnhardt as they came down, Ned.
Yes, it did. When he moved on Earnhardt's bumpers, he started around Darrell Waltrip. That gave Earnhardt the momentum that he needed to really shoot by in a hurry, as we see them coming down to the start-finish line here. Now, Waltrip is trying to move back around Dale Earnhardt. You can see Allison's car had already dropped back out of the picture, but where he had come into the picture was that he helped Earnhardt to draft past Walter. Whether it was intentional or not, we don't know because of that rivalry. Of course, there's the championship points at stake.
The Allison crew has locked the transporter. All that entire crew is over there around car number 22, and the crew is back in the transporter itself. Let's take a look at some of the statistics on today's race. It was a 170-mile-per-hour average by which Dale Earnhardt won this race. There were 21 cars running at the finish from the 40 cars that started. We had 10 different leaders today and 45 lead changes, and Dale Earnhardt becomes the, well, it's still the 10th different winner of the season, in as much as he'd also won at Nashville. I thought we might have broken a new record. That's not true. And when it came down to a finish, the top 2 cars were there together, and the third finishing position today will be Neil Bonnet, substituting for Tim Richmond, with the 4th spot, Richard Petty, and finishing in 5th is Harry Gant. On a note about winning today, David Hobbs was successful in winning his 3rd race of the year. A gentleman that's usually with us, Ned. He won at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. He leads in the Trans Am point standings, and I guess he did a magnificent job from all reports. Let's go to Larry Nuber quickly.
Ned and Ken, we were going to follow up on the Bobby Allison story for you, but we've received a report that Bobby is over to the track hospital. Nothing serious. He had some debris that worked its way into his eyes, also like Tim Richmond's problem earlier in the day. He, along with crew chief Gary Nelson, are there attending to Bobby. So Bobby's okay, but the car sits here with not a crew member around it.
Well, let's take a look now at the top 10 from this Talladega 500, the 15th annual, no exception from the others. Those typical great finishes as we take a look at the top 10 here today. Now you see Earnhardt winning, Waltrip 2nd, Bonnet 3rd, Petty 4th, and Harry Gant came home in 5th. Taking a look at the second 5, Jeff Bodine winds up in 6th, Richard Brooks in 7th, Bill Elliott in 8th, Bobby Allison 9th, and Mark Martin finishes the day in 10th place. Earnhardt wins his first Talladega 500, and he did it in style coming out of turn number 4. So that's the story today in the Talladega 500. This is Ken Squire for Ned Jarrett, Larry Nuber, Mike Joy, saying so long from the 1983 Talladega 500.
This CBS Sports Special has been sponsored by Budweiser. For all you do, this Bud's for you. Pontiac, who invites you to test drive a new Pontiac at your Pontiac dealer. At Pontiac, we build excitement. And by Sears, Roebuck & Company. For quality merchandise coast to coast, it's Sears.
Stay tuned for final round coverage of the Canadian Open. The Talladega 500 has been a presentation of CBS Sports.